Gaming news today is a mixture of things on the horizon, my first impressions of a Horizon game, and more comments from Phil Spencer that I actually think are pretty out of touch, and I'll explain why in a minute. If you guys missed a lot of his interviews, he continues to do more, and we're going to take a look at the one that he did with Rolling Stone, along with the brand new marketing from Xbox continuing to get not great response from people. This is an Xbox. It's not landing well with the Xbox loyal. We also have brand new info about the First Descendant Season 2 for you. Thanks to the team over there. They sent me over all that embargoed info ahead of time, and I've got some of the bullet points as well as the trailer for you. Second, the new marketing from Xbox, as well as that Phil Spencer interview we will be taking a look at. We also have an update on Black Ops 6 and the PS5 Pro enhancements, and we have a date for the Game Award nominations. We will be co-streaming that, so make sure you're subbed to the channel. You don't want to miss those live event coverages that we do. Brand new info about Avowed. Many are questioning the launch window now as it's close with another big title. And I will give you my first impressions of LEGO Horizon Adventures and try to assess why this game is getting such split response, people that like it and people that are being very harsh. And as always, I have some more games for your wish list and your radar. If you're watching this later, make sure and hit subscribe and the bell button so you can be here for these really great live discussions. If you want to support what I do directly, hit the join button and be sure to pick Member Plus for $6. It gets you into a lot of extra content in my Discord, and it enables me to do this full time. So thank you to everybody who does support the channel with a membership or with those very generous gifted memberships. So let's just start with the First Descendant. Let's just start with something that's a little bit more exciting and not as contentious. Season 2 Void Chaser is launching December the 5th. There will be 2 new Descendants, Keelan and Inez Rhea. There will be a new dungeon, the Void Vessel, a new Sharon story quest. If you like Sharon, Sharon's also going to get a new ultimate. There will be a new Void Abyss Intercept battle. And then we have some new ultimate weapons, Hammer and Anvil, and the Voltia. And there is also much more that they promise will be coming. So I wanted to put this in front of you, let you guys know First Descendant is still kicking, still going. Season 2 is almost here. It's just a couple of weeks away. And I did appreciate the fact that they sent over the embargoed info as well as the trailer and everything. So I got to see some of this stuff ahead of time. Be sure to check it out. It looks like one of the new characters is going to have a German Shepherd, maybe. And she looks about as buxom and as attractive as you would expect from the First Descendant if you've seen any of their recent skins. But some of these new units and some of these new encounters actually look quite good. I'm seeing more and more Destiny influence and more mechanics and things to engage with. So that is coming and that is exciting, but something that hasn't been as exciting is the new Xbox marketing, as well as some Phil Spencer interviews that just continue to sort of make people feel as if the brand of Xbox is completely changing. Now, in case you missed it, there was a blog and a trailer just yesterday called This Is an Xbox. They basically announced a new marketing push. There'll be billboards in Times Square, also major cities across across the globe. And Phil Spencer continues to do interviews. And I did not plan on even covering this. I added this to the show open this morning because it came across my desk. I was busy last night. I was on a date night, and then I came home, and then I, watched some TV and went to bed. So thankfully, thank you, Lone Wolf, for putting this on my radar. The Rolling Stone interview, and we thought that Phil was going to continue to do more interviews. We basically speculated that there would be more things coming from Phil as he seemingly was doing a full press circuit along with this new marketing push, okay? Now, he basically admits that this is a brand transition, and he said the following. It's an interesting topic because as we look at the brand, as we're changing the brand, it means something different. It literally was a box when it first launched. It was a DirectX box, which has grown into now more accessibility. Xbox isn't just one device. Xbox is your smart TV. Xbox is on your PC, is on your phone, and we're in the middle of that transition. So he's not being quiet about it. Nobody's really being quiet about this anymore. Xbox is transitioning as a brand, and many of us said this would happen. We were very much predicting this. I'm going to get more into this in a second because I said they would start treating Xbox like an extension of Microsoft because Microsoft is a software company. And the reaction to this marketing has been mixed. The article goes on to say, to his credit, Spencer knows very well that some fans would ultimately be turned off by the campaign, having said that some people, quote, long for the simplicity of a single box, single platform, single game. But he also noted that today's largest games are bigger than any of the individual platforms. Now, Rolling Stone observed that recent games haven't been great, that response to these games has not been all that great. I thought it was interesting to see an outlet that's more outside of the gaming world seeing things the same way that a lot of us did, and they said the following. They said, even with the acquisitions, it hasn't been an entirely smooth road, with high-profile games like Redfall, Starfield, Hellblade 2 arriving to tepid reception from fans and critics. Although sales for Starfield were initially strong, the game's player base has waned. Even with the recently released Shattered Space expansion, the weak performance of the first-party titles and the continued support of other platforms has only stoked the fire for players who say Xbox will soon drop out of the console game. So Rolling Stone, I think, doing actually surprisingly good analysis here of saying these games got tepid response. This was sort of in the wake. These were some of sort of the first shots fired after acquisition, and it hasn't gone all that well. And many have thought they're just going to become a publisher. And in response to this idea, Phil Spencer said the following. He said, the console space isn't growing across all of them. We love those customers, but in terms of continuing to expand and grow Xbox, it's about PC, it's about cloud, and it's about making our games more available in more places. He does, however, give a definitive answer about consoles in the future. He said, we'll definitely do more consoles in the future and other devices. But here's where things get interesting. He's asked about a mid-gen cycle like the PlayStation 5 Pro. And the PS5 Pro was decried as overpriced, unnecessary, DOA, and it seems to be doing just fine. But Phil has what I consider to be a very strange take as the head of a gaming company. He said the following. We think about hardware that can create unique value for our players or creators on our platform. We don't need to do incremental hardware for our own benefit. Does a new device really give you a unique experience on screen in some way? It's less like the old days, going from the original Xbox to 360. That was standard definition to high definition. Now it's harder to show the benefits. The first sentence that he says, I find to be completely out of touch. That hardware, when we think about hardware, he says we want to have it create unique value for our players or creators. But a lot of their hardware ideas is about putting their games in places that doesn't change the experience. Being able to play their games on more devices, as this trailer shows, that's not unique value. I'm not suddenly thrilled that I can play Starfield on my cell phone. That doesn't change the experience of Starfield. It doesn't make Starfield any better. If anything, it might actually diminish the experience due to size of screen, any cloud latency, or just degraded quality in general because their cloud services basically run everything on a Series S profile. Also, when he acts as if a new hardware device or a mid-gen device like the Pro is only for the benefit of them, the PlayStation 5 Pro does not just benefit Sony and PlayStation, it benefits developers, it benefits consumers, and it benefits future games. I don't see value for consumers being like, oh, I can play on different devices. Value for gaming consumers is better performance, new or better or more innovative features within the games themselves. More powerful hardware is how you do that. Elder Scrolls on a TV or a mobile device doesn't do anything for me. Elder Scrolls looking insane, being immersive, having new or better AI systems, deep RPG and combat depth, that's what's going to make Elder Scrolls a more valuable proposition for me to play. Just being able to play it on some other device doesn't do anything for me. If anything, it'll likely dilute the quality of the game because you have to make sure that game can run on Series S profiles on the cloud. Better hardware is how you get games to improve. Something like PSSR that is on the PS5 Pro and will also then be on the PS6 will give developers headroom to add in more systems. Something that might be more intensive on the GPU, the CPU, the memory. The more headspace you give those developers, the more innovation and more new things they can do. It's not just about making the games pretty. He's not talking like a game company. he's talking like a software company. He's not saying that the value is making better games by way of having better hardware, which is the relationship that's been in place for over 20 years. He's talking about, well, if the game is in more places, that's more valuable to the consumer. Yeah, you sound like Microsoft. You don't sound like Xbox anymore. Lastly, he confirms that multiple hardware pieces, that's the future. He said, we're trying to expand. What does an Xbox mean? I want Xbox to be something 20 years from now. I think in order for Xbox to be vibrant, to be successful, it needs to be about multiple pieces of hardware. So that's fine. If you want to do multiple pieces of hardware, handhelds, a console, whatever the case may be, I have no problem with that. But as a gaming consumer that has been playing since the Coleco, I see no value in increasing where I can access the games. I see value in the games I can access being better. And that starts with better hardware. Now, the reactions to this trailer and the blog have been mixed. Hardcore Xbox fans are feeling a large amount of anger and betrayal. They feel like everything they bought into this time around has completely gone out the window, which is true to a certain degree. When they bought ZeniMax, Phil Spencer said, this acquisition is about getting more exclusives where Game Pass lives. He's not talking like that anymore. There's no red line in the catalog. The industry is not growing according to him, so they have to go find new consumers, and that means that the Xbox console is taking a bit of a back seat. And many people have responded to this and they say, well, this is where the industry's going. I don't see the industry going this way. I don't see Nintendo and PlayStation clamoring to put their games on smart TVs, the cloud, mobile, each other's platforms. Xbox is pivoting in a way to survive. They haven't done the thing they needed to do, which is grow their consumer base. So now they're projecting that lack of growth on the entire industry, and many others are also following suit. I saw one article that said, this is where the industry's going, and Xbox is doing it first. If this is where the industry's going, why are the industry leaders not doing it? Why are PlayStation and Nintendo not doing this? They're leading with hardware. They're leading with innovation that will yield better games, more innovation within the games themselves. Nintendo Switch 2 is just around the corner and will likely be sold with really great first-party property. They're completely different recipes for success. Nintendo considers themselves a toy company, and they will move hardware with their games. If you want that new Nintendo Switch, well, you might need it to play the latest Mario Kart or Zelda. PlayStation is a hardware company at their core because of Sony. They're leading with hardware, and that hardware has magnetism for developers, better performance and innovation, which I believe naturally draws in consumers. Xbox isn't doing anything first. They're abandoning a fight that they lost. And there are many people that are looking at this and saying, listen, they needed to do this, and I don't like it. And I think that's probably the most fair take of all. Don't turn this into Xbox leading the charge or the entire industry's changing. They lost a fight, they made bad decisions, and in my estimation, I have a video right now on the channel called The Xbox Problem. They're repeating the same mistakes they made last time. The Xbox One failed miserably because they set their sights on non-gaming consumers. They thought, let's make an entertainment box and let's get people that want something for their living room to watch TV and movies on in addition to gaming. And what they ended up doing is they missed out on those new customers that weren't compelled by the very expensive purchase of a box that was going to let them watch TV and movies, which they likely already have a solution for that. And then the gamers felt very much spurned by that as well. They are once again making the same mistake. They are setting their sights outside the gaming world, outside the gaming consumer, and hoping to get conversions. Make no mistake, this marketing push is incredibly expensive. This effort to go out and get new gaming consumers who you don't currently have, I believe will fundamentally fail. I do not think there is a giant reservoir. There's not some monsoon of people who are going to flood the Xbox ecosystem because now they can suddenly play video games through their TV or their smartphone. I think they're going to find out very quickly that they're going to do a much better job as a publisher and not a great job as an ecosystem. But that's just what I think. You can always let me know what you think in the comments below. You can always let me know what you think in the live stream, and we're not done. I got more stuff for you, but I had to include that, and I had to react on the fly. None of that was scripted. but I had to react to what he said and what they're setting their sights on because I don't think it's a great idea. Now, Black Ops 6 Season 1 launched yesterday, and it comes with PS5 Pro enhancements. It didn't take long, so much for first, better, or best. Black Ops 6 is now best on a PS5 Pro. It was listed as an enhanced game when the PS5 Pro launched, and here are the patch details. Using Sony's PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, Black Ops 6 supports a higher image quality when running at 4K and 60 Hz. New PlayStation 5 Pro quality settings are higher quality shadows, ambient occlusion, reflections in screen space, global illumination, unique to the quality mode. Players can also opt to play at 120 Hz for greater performance. On the PS5 Pro, 120 Hz mode has the same image quality as the PlayStation 5 running at 60. That's quite the brag. With Season 1, new variable refresh rate mode that will allow our highest image quality mode to often exceed the 60 Hz on compatible display devices. So, pretty big news for anybody who has the PS5 Pro and is also playing Black Ops 6, one of the biggest games of the year. Another thing that we heard is that Avowed, we now have not just the release date, but we also have a new platform it will be hitting. They tweeted that Avowed launches on February the 18th, 2025, and it will hit Xbox Series X and S, the Xbox app, as well as Battle.net and Steam. Some are asking why this is launching in such close conjunction with Monster Hunter Wilds on February the 28th. Seemingly a far bigger and more popular game. February doesn't look like a great choice anymore in some people's minds. I don't necessarily know if it matters, given that the game is launching at 30 FPS on console. I find that to be another embarrassment for Xbox first party. Phil Spencer just did an interview where he indicated that the delay happened because they could afford it, and it's going to help Game Pass cadence. This isn't about the developers and polish. It's something that will benefit Game Pass to keep people from canceling. Just a reminder, too, that this game is launching at 30 FPS, which I believe from everything we've seen, there's no excuse for that. Another insane result of the Xbox first-party studio. I don't even know what to say anymore. I honestly don't. I'm kind of at a loss for words for where things have ended up. Now, before I give you my thoughts on LEGO Horizon Adventures very quickly, the Game Award nominees will be taking place this coming Monday, the 18th at noon Eastern. We will co-stream and we will react to that, okay? So make sure you're subbed to the channel. Make sure you got that bell button pressed, all right? If you guys are watching right now in the live environment, hit like. If you're watching later, hit like. That like button, that thumbs up button, it helps me out. All right, very quickly. I want to chop all this up with the live audience. I know you guys are chomping at the bit. Get those gifts and super chats going. Let's have a strong Friday. But I've got to talk about LEGO Horizon Adventures because I got to play it yesterday for about an hour. Okay, I'm going to try and make sense of why this game is getting such mixed response. This may help you completely avoid it, or it may help you buy it in confidence. Let me try and help out here. Graphically, this is the best LEGO game I've ever played. The setting, the story, and the combat I actually think are quite good. However, I do see where the divide is coming from. This is not a traditional LEGO game like the Marvel games, the DC games, all those other movie games like Harry Potter and Jurassic Park. This is not a collectathon. You can't break every single thing. You're not constantly picking up piles and piles of studs. It is not a traditional LEGO game, okay? It's also not like Skywalker Saga. Star Wars Skywalker Saga is the biggest LEGO game to date. Nothing really rivals it in size or time to complete. But that was a blend of an adventure game and a classic LEGO game, and they did an excellent job. I can highly recommend that game to anybody who's enjoyed the classic LEGO games. It's got this sort of injection of adventure game. The Horizon LEGO game is basically a Horizon adventure game in a LEGO setting, okay? Some people are enjoying it for what it is. Others are being very critical for what it is not, okay? Because it is not a classic LEGO game, because it doesn't really fall into a traditional LEGO format, they find it to be lacking. It has a 4.56 on PlayStation, okay, which is a good score. Steam is not going over very well, okay? The PSN login requirement is once again upsetting people, and also, I don't think this game is appealing to older audiences as much. Folks, I think, are expecting that more traditional experience as well, are being pretty harsh. They're like, this is not a LEGO game, okay? Here's the deal. That little vibe there you saw with two people talking, I think my kids are going to love this, and I think that's the main goal here. This feels more like a Lego movie vibe in the Horizon setting, which I think, again, my kids are going to laugh at this and enjoy this, and that I think is the main goal and the main point. It's probably going to sell the most and get the best reception on the Nintendo Switch with that younger audience, and PlayStation's likely going to consider that a win. I don't think the budget for this game was significantly big. They didn't have a whole lot of marketing for it. I don't think this is some big, huge spend for them. This is targeting that younger audience. So the more traditional Lego fans and the older fans that are being heavily critical of this, I don't think PlayStation sees that as a problem. I think they knew that this was primarily targeted at that Nintendo younger audience. It's not meant for older fans. I will say this. One of the previews said, put it at the hardest difficulty and it starts to play in a better way. Like it actually feels challenging and is fun. There are like 5 difficulty settings. So if you want to give it a try and you want to have a bit more of a challenge, be sure to do that. All right, quickly, I've got games for your wish list and your radar. Long show open, but I wanted to give due diligence to all these various topics. Atomfall, dubbed as British Fallout, is a single-player survival action game where players have to solve the mystery of a nuclear disaster at a nuclear plant. It launches on March 27th on old and current-gen consoles, as well as the Epic Store and Steam. I actually find the graphics in this to be pretty impressive. I'm not quite sure what it's going to look and run like on a PS4 or an Xbox One, but this looks quite good. So if this style of game appeals to you, be sure to check out Atomfall. March 27th is not that far away. Now, a smaller title that you might not have heard of called Bullet Runner released yesterday on Steam, GOG, Xbox, and the Nintendo Switch. This is a single-player action bullet hell game. It currently doesn't have any previews. I don't think they really had a ton of marketing or awareness, so there's no reviews on Steam. It has one review on Xbox that gave it 4 out of 5 stars. They said it should be a $5 game, but it is fun and it is good. It's $15. I may give this a shot in members. It does look fun. I don't think it's a rogue. It's just a single-player campaign in this sort of really fun pixel 3D art and environment. So that one is called Bullet Runner if you want to check that one out. Now, here is one that you might have checked out before, and maybe you didn't like it or you didn't play it, all right? The Rogue Prince of Persia is evolving, says this video that they just dropped yesterday. This is a huge, huge update. They are doubling the amount of content in the game, and as you just saw there, as it kind of swiped over, there is a complete art style overhaul. The main character looks different. He looks a little bit more gruff, I would say, a little bit more, I don't know how to describe it. I would describe him as a little bit more gritty and tough and a little less sort of airy and whimsical. I think they've given it a much more grounded, more gritty art style. I actually really like the overhaul. So that is available right now in early access on Steam for $20. It's a Prince of Persia Rogue game. We don't have an update on 1.0. However, its overall score is an 84%. That's up from when it first went into early access. When it first went into early access, it had a really bad score. So it's up to 84%. Its recent score is a 93%. So it's great to see how far it's come. It continues to look better and better. If you're a fan of Rogues, if you're a fan of Prince of Persia, check that one out on Steam. So, quick recap. We looked at the First Descendant Season 2. I had a lot of thoughts on Xbox's marketing, their plan, and Phil Spencer's recent Rolling Stone interview. The Black Ops 6 PS5 Pro enhancements. You can watch the Game Award nominations here on Monday at noon Eastern. And Avowed is coming to Battle.net on February 18th, in addition to all of the other platforms that it's hitting. And I gave you my impressions of LEGO Horizon Adventures because I think I kind of got an idea of why it's split response. And I gave you some games for your wish list and your radar. So that's the news. Now it's time for the discussion. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you so much for so many of you being here. Hit that like button. Let's get 23 more likes. And I have people to thank who have already been gifting members and ensuring that we are on our way. I got 2 singles from Stonespire. Hanshot first, and so did you. And then I got another one from Joker Quinn, and that puts us at 259. And we did a big call during members this morning for people to upgrade to Member Plus because that will count as 2. And a this is a 50 spot, but this is a $3 super chat from Game Over Cholo. Says, got the PS5 Pro with a 25% discount. Granted, it's still $714 US, but that's a steal down here in Mexico. I'm hyped for Stellar Blade and AC Shadows. Well, congratulations on snagging a deal there, and welcome on in, everybody, to the discussion this morning. If you missed it, I had a lot of pushback and a lot of thoughts on the Phil Spencer interview with Rolling Stone about this is an Xbox and the new Xbox marketing. I continue to think, and I said it this morning, I said it in the show open, and I'll say it again. Phil Spencer no longer sounds like he's talking about a gaming company. He no longer sounds like he's talking about Xbox. He sounds like he's talking about a software company. It's just like, I don't understand the mindset of how, like, doing better hardware, stronger, better things isn't going to help with better games. It's like, that's quite literally where you start sometimes, as well. Hey, we have more power. We can do more stuff now. We have the avowed minimum required specs in for Steam. Minimum required is a 16 gig of RAM. I once again wonder what in the world they're going to do over there on the Series S. Yeah, PlayStation is an Xbox, right? Xbox is covering the cost of games on PlayStation, and Sony gets 30% of every transaction for no traditional work. Sounds like a better deal to me. Who are you responding to, Siriu? Xbox? Smart? GTFO? I'm not sure what you're saying, Tom. Yeah, the nominees will be announced Monday. Isn't that a little early? It is early. I don't know if Stalker 2 will be in contention unless they're going to let people nominate it because they've already got their hands on it. There won't be reviews of Stalker unless the embargo drops Monday morning. It's possible that the Stalker review embargo drops Monday morning, maybe, and then that'll enable it to be qualified. I'm not sure. Stone Spire gifts a member and bumps it to $260, a nice even $260. If you guys want a Friday night stream to hang out with my wife and I, you got a ways to go. You'll have to bat signal the big boys to come in and help move this member goal. I don't know why this is a surprise, says Alfonso. Phil said earlier this year that better games won't help them compete. Yeah, but I think the difference with what he said when he said what he said, and somebody ordered some coffee earlier as well. Mike on the mic, thank you for ordering 2 bags of the Frickmas blend. That is available now. We brought back the Frickmas. When he was on the Kinda Funny podcast and he said that, I took that more of, there's no silver bullet here. There's no silver bullet. If we launch some insanely good game, it's not like we're suddenly going to win what we lost in the previous generation. Within the context of what he said, I kind of agreed with him. Now, I don't think everybody interpreted that as, yeah, we don't really care about making great games anymore. There were people who were like, yep, guess I don't care about making great games. And I was like, come on. I don't. I felt like that was a pretty negative read on what he said. It's what he said in this Rolling Stone interview about how, like, we want to provide unique value to the consumer. Okay, let me ask you something. Is that something gamers are demanding? Hey, I don't really care about performance and graphics and games that look better or are bigger or more expansive or more innovative. Those are all things that better hardware gives you, right? Better hardware gives you better performance, better graphics, better innovation, bigger games, more innovation, all of that, right? That's what you get from better hardware. What gamers are saying, yeah, I don't care about that. What I care about is unique value, which is I can play Elder Scrolls on my phone. Like, to me, it's completely out of touch. The reason that it's out of touch with gamers is because he's talking like a software company. That's what a software company values. We want our software to be as accessible as possible. That's not how you fuel creative process. That's not how you fuel innovation and get better games. You don't get better games by increasing the number of platforms that the game lands on. That's completely backwards. It's completely backwards. It's just corpo speak for we want to have our stuff in as many places to make as much money as we can. It's not about valuing how good the game can be. It's just like when he said, oh, we delayed Avowed because we could afford it. What? It's not for the quality of the game. It's because you can afford it and you want better cadence for Game Pass. Zubair says, you can't compete on those other things. You can actually compete on value. By you, I mean Microsoft. Right. Like, if you can't compete on, like, we don't have enough consoles to compete, or we lost that fight, but you could still compete on value. You start making great games, not to win this gen, but to continue with great games towards the next gen and actually grow and compete. Right. It's so fundamentally backwards. Nothing he said in that Rolling Stone interview appeals to gamers. Eugene says, Sony has been turning other devices into PlayStations for a decade or more with remote play. This isn't some revolutionary move by Xbox. Yeah, and largely, where do those people play? They play on the PlayStation consoles. They play on the hardware. This is why I think it's going over like a lead balloon. I don't think people are seeing this new marketing push and saying, oh, I'm so glad that you're doing this. I'm so glad. My main concern as a gamer, the unique value that I've wanted from Xbox has been that I can game everywhere. No. 4 years ago, what was marketed and promised to me was a high-end console box that was going to hit 60 FPS, 120 FPS. It was going to give me 4K if I wanted it. It was going to give me great experiences. That's what you sold me. You sold me a box on the promise of features and performance, and now 4 years later, you're talking in a language that I don't care about that. I'm not like, you know what? I bought your console for $500 on the promise of amazing performance and the world's most powerful console, but really all this time, the thing that I've really wanted is to be able to play games in more places. What? No! What? Who are these gamers that they're trying to market to? Who? Who's like, yay, thank you so much for abandoning the power narrative and abandoning next gen as a focus. Thank you so much for putting games on laptops, tablets, Fire Sticks, and smart TVs. 4 years ago, we bought a device that promised 4K gaming and 60 FPS standard output up to 120. But what we've really wanted this entire time is to play games on another device. They aren't marketing to us, and that's the biggest mistake of all, Alfonso. They're making the same mistake they made with the Xbox One. They're trying to target the non-gaming consumer, and I think they're going to get terrible conversion rates. Terrible. They've already lost us, Lono. They aren't getting us back. They need to find fresh meat. Here's why I think that's a mistake, Zubair. How did PlayStation get me to spend more time on their console this gen? How did PlayStation get me to buy a PSVR 2 and a Portal and a PS5 Pro? How do they do it? They did it with quality. I switched. I switched where I primarily game. And how did PlayStation get me to do that? With quality, with value, with innovation, with a commitment to what gamers value. Doe Devas with 35 months, and he also gifts 5 as well. Early meeting today, late to the show. Good morning, Lono and chat. Thank you so much, Doe Devas, taking us to 266. Thank you so much. Eugene says, who isn't gaming right now that wants to? Right, who are these people that they think they're going to get conversions with? I just don't get it. I do not get it. Who right now is like, you know what? I've never been a gamer, but if all I have to do is go to Target and buy a $70 or $60 controller and then come home and pair that controller with my TV to play a game through the cloud and then pay a subscription fee for that experience, well, by golly, then I'll become a gamer. Who is this consumer? Who? Sure, if you're already in the Xbox ecosystem, you'll benefit from maybe being able to play more conveniently if you don't have your Xbox with you, but you've got your phone or an Asus ROG or something. But like, who are these consumers that are going to flood flood the ecosystem because, well, now I can play. I just have to go buy a controller from the store and pair it with my television and sign up for a subscription service, as subscription services plateau across the board. This marketing plan, I'm telling you right now, it's a speed run to Xbox becoming a publisher. It's not going to work. It's not. I don't think there are enough people out there to make this marketing push worth it. I think Microsoft's going to turn around in a couple years and say, this is a complete and utter waste of time. This isn't working. We're not getting enough people. Xbox is leading the charge to what all companies will do, and I don't think that that's accurate. Yo, Dan, Gifts, a member, thank you guys so much. You guys are going to have to group together if you want to get another 230 members today is what it's going to take to unlock Friday Night Stream with Madam. By the way, people suggested doing a watch party of the Tyson fight tonight. We could have a big celebration bash tonight. We could all watch that fight together. I can't show it to you. We could just commentate as we watch it. And then we could play some Horizon, and then we could play some Fright Night. You guys could get a lot if you want. And then a second super chat for the super chat goal. Sear you with the $5 super chat says, I feel like Microsoft doesn't really understand why people game. They think the market is one size fits all, but that's not true. Listen, I'm telling you right now, Phil Spencer went from sounding like a guy who headed up a gaming company, and now he sounds like an extension of Microsoft. He's talking like a software company. It's like, just because you put the software in more places doesn't mean you're going to find consumers. They put Microsoft Office and their cloud solutions in their operating system in as many places as possible. They became endemic to the business world. They became endemic to entire structures of school systems. And that's where they make a ton of their money, from their Azure services, their cloud-based services for business, as well as their subscription services for like Office 365, right? And I think what they're saying is let's apply that same axiom to gaming. You need to make sure your games, your software is available on tablet, phone, TV, whatever. That doesn't lead to conversions because nobody's looking for that. You're creating something that no one's looking for. No one's like, I've never been into gaming, but if you would let me game through my TV, my tablet, they could do that right now. If they were interested in like mobile games, they could be playing mobile games on their phones and their tablets right now. All you're really doing is taking more traditional style video games and making them accessible on mobile, tablet, smart TV through the cloud. And because of the nature of their cloud quality, I'm like, I don't know what kind of consumer conversion rate you think you're going to get. Let me put it this way, Lono. What's easier for Phil to do? Change Microsoft's attitude towards creatives or sell games on value and convenience? I think the former is impossible. You are 100% correct, Zubair. Microsoft is acidic to creative process. They try to treat games the way they treat software. Their software is utilitarian. They can ship Office, Windows, and fix it later. They can churn through 18-month contract workers, and it's not a problem. There is no artistic vision for Office, cloud services, or an operating system. You do that to a game, and you get Halo Infinite. You can't have a creative process, something that requires vision transfer, vision cohesion, and you need that knowledge, that institutional knowledge, to stay in the project till it comes out of incubation period into development, into shipping. Those people have got to be there the whole time. And Microsoft is treating games the way they treat operating systems and Office, and you can't do that. And I've told you guys this for a long time. I was like, Microsoft's bad at gaming because they treat games in a way that you can't treat them. It's why they're constantly losing creative directors. There's a steady stream of creative directors that just leave Xbox Studios, as well as directors, because you can't operate in that environment creatively. It doesn't work. Well, now what are they doing? Well, they're bringing everything full circle. Yeah, what do? Just churn out the games. It doesn't matter if we're constantly losing employees. It doesn't matter if they launch at the quality of Redfall or Forza Motorsport or Starfield. It doesn't matter if the consumer reception is mediocre or tepid. That doesn't matter. Ship it. And now it's going to be ship it and have it hit all these other platforms in the hopes of just winning a war of quantity. And I don't think it's going to work. Microsoft will crunch the numbers. They will crunch the numbers, and they will see the amount of money they make on Call of Duty and the amount of money they're making on Minecraft, and they'll say there's way more money in publishing. The ecosystem is not lucrative enough. I don't think it'll be lucrative enough for them. It'll be too expensive to maintain, too expensive to market, too expensive to maintain, and the ROI and the conversion won't be there. That's my prediction. A $5 super chat from Real King Salty. At this point, I would love to see the Xbox division get bought out by someone who is a gamer through and through, but it would never happen. That's 3 super chats toward the goal, and Siriu, with the 5 bomb of members, gets us a little bit closer at 272. Thank you so much. 3 more members, and I owe you guys 5. Keep it going. Make sure you're renewing and celebrating. That counts toward the goal as well. I'm a Mac guy for my music, but in the world, most offices and corporations are using Windows. Right, like... Oh, Discord because of the character limit. Sven says, I was trying to say yesterday, I find the new marketing refreshing because they're finally making it clear what their intentions for the future are. As a Series X owner, it's disheartening because they're basically abandoning my $500 investment 4 years in. I don't like it, but I get it. Right. I on one hand, I agree with you, Sven. It's like, yeah. It's like, it's refreshing that there's... I said this yesterday. I said, Xbox has been saying this. Phil Spencer has been saying this since last year. Late last year is when he started letting you know what was coming. And nobody listened, and everybody spun what he said, or ignored what he said, or ignored the CFO, or ignored Satya, or tried to claim they were only talking about ABK games like Call of Duty. Bunch of fools that just bought into nonsense, right? So I was like, they've been saying this for a long time. Now they're saying it with their chest. They're saying it with their chest. Phil Spencer told Rolling Stone, this is the brand transitioning. This is a transition. It's not the same brand anymore. Purple Haze, good to see you. $5 super chat. Says, hit the nail on the head with Microsoft. Steve Jobs said it best. They focus too much on making things work and not enough on making things enjoyable. Right. That's so well stated, Purple. It's like, I'm telling you, what got me to start spending more time on PlayStation was the games were better quality. They were better quality. I was an Xbox guy dying for Xbox games to ship at quality, and it wasn't happening. It just wasn't. You want to play these weird, point-keeping sessions on Twitter or your podcast where you're tallying up first party, and then you're going to Metacritic and being like, yeah, and you're counting games like Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop because you're keeping score in a game that nobody's winning or losing. I wasn't getting games at quality. I wasn't getting games at a cadence at quality. So I just naturally started playing on my PlayStation more. That just proves you can get consumers to spend more time in your ecosystem or with your games if they're good. A $10 super chat from Rygen. He gets us halfway to the super chat goal. Can we get a Lono metaphor for this? Something like you can't teach a dead horse to kill 2 birds with 1 fish. They are going to people that don't like watching sports games, and they're saying, but now you can watch sports games on your phone instead of your TV. That's what they're doing. You're not selling ice to Eskimos. You're trying to tell somebody who has not been engaging with the medium, but we gave you another way to engage with the medium. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't like going to traditional shopping malls, like where you go into like a big giant store like Macy's, and it smells like a cacophony of bad perfume and cheap leather, and everybody that's employed there looks like a zombie because nobody ever goes into those stores anymore, and it's hard to find anything. Like, I cannot stand going into that environment, okay? I no longer go there. And if somebody said, oh, but we've made it easier to get to the store now. You can park curbside and walk in. It's more accessible. We added more roads to get it. I'd be like, I don't care. I don't care. Making your thing more accessible, making the thing that I'm not interested in more accessible doesn't change my desire to engage with it. It doesn't. If you really don't like bowling all that much, just because a bowling alley comes to you and says, well, we made it more accessible. We've got subscriptions that you can pay, and you can bowl 10 times in a month, and it's really, really cheap. It's $1 basically for every time that you're going to bowl. It wouldn't matter. You'd be like, I don't care. I'm not suddenly going to become a fan of bowling because you made it more accessible. I don't really like it. You know, I'll bowl once a year. Nitro Fusion with the 15-month renewal, and he takes us to 273. And MASH with the 50 bomb. This man is insane. Taking over the chat once again. That takes us all the way to 323. Jiminy Christmas. I owe you guys 15 members. Lono, they don't want your money. You're too demanding with your constant cries for cadence and quality. You are a pain in the butt. Somebody tag team with MASH so that you guys can get the goal for the week. Thank you so much, MASH. That's my argument against an Xbox handheld. What games will I play on it? All the Xbox exclusives I already don't want to play, and they're coming to PS5 anyways. I mean, that's such a well-stated point, JG from Space. What if PlayStation brings a bona fide handheld to the market? The Portal's getting Cloud, by the way. And a 5-bomb from Narwaffle. And he says, I'll help out. And I'll bump the line a little bit more. Thank you so much, Narwaffle. If PlayStation brings a bona fide handheld at some point, I'm right there with you. I wouldn't need an Xbox handheld then. The only reason I would buy an Xbox handheld is if it had better performance, like if it was running games consistently at 60 and it gave me access to Steam. Then you'd get me to buy an Xbox handheld. I've wanted an Xbox handheld for a while because I'm like, that would actually solve some problems for me. It would help me with certain things. Joker Quinn with a single gifted and bumps the line to 329. Faithful at those single gifteds, man. They add up. Thank you. Like a bona fide handheld from PlayStation would make me say, why bother? And a 20 bomb from MASH puts us on the doorstep of the next milestone, 349. He's a madman. He's like, I'm my own tag team partner. Zubair says, I think a lot of what helps Steam Deck is the sheer scope of the Steam store. I don't know if Xbox or Sony can match that. Lono thought he was going to get off tonight, not without MASH in chat. Yeah, I thought I was going to get a Friday night off. Oh, Rachel got one. I wonder if she's here. Outside looking in, the cloud for the portal makes sense, but do you have insider info to confirm that? I do. Is cloud on the portal officially confirmed? No, but it's coming. Trust. No, I've not gotten a Steam Deck. If they launch a Steam Deck that will consistently run games at 60, I'm not talking about hyper visually demanding games. I just want consistent 60. I would never want to get it and deal with, it's just a smattering. It's like some games you can get to run at 60. Some games are going to run at 30. I don't want to do that. I don't. It's like the portal gives me 1080 60 and I get the beautiful image from my PlayStation running it, and it runs perfectly fine. Now again, it's not cloud yet, and it's not native, but it's going to be significantly better very soon. But who cares about cloud? Cloud is an option. It's not a main access point, El Deuterino. Think about it like this. I'm upstairs in my living room, or both the kids have the TVs taken, and I want to play a game that's not presently installed on my box, or for whatever reason, I don't have access to the PlayStation. I can try a game out on Cloud. I can play a game on Cloud. You have to understand, the Portal is additive to my existing PlayStation experience. It's not the main way of playing the game. You're being sarcastic? No, it's fair pushback, as I am somewhat harsh on Cloud. And Dan secures us the 350 mark. There it is. 150 away from the goal. The man himself, Dan. I think I owe you guys a 20 bomb now. And 25 months from Alexander Smith. That's an Agent of Chaos renewal. My only beef with you, Reforge, is you undersold just how much fun and how unbelievable convenient playing on the Portal is. Well, I mean, I don't know if I undersold it. I try to be balanced in my coverage. It's like it is extremely helpful in certain circumstances. But with the Portal being additive, that's what I've been saying about the Cloud. It's additive. Deuterino, you're not incorrect when you're talking about existing gamers. Now go read what Phil said and try to claim that it's additive. You can't. Phil isn't saying we're making our games more accessible to be additive to our existing console consumers. He's saying our biggest opportunity for growth is out there. It wouldn't be additive. It would be how that person games. And it won't work. It won't. If you are not currently gaming, that is one of the worst catalysts to get into gaming. You know what the best catalyst for gaming is? Playing with somebody else is the most common catalyst to get people into gaming. Not playing through your television or Fire Stick or your tablet through the cloud. Kage says, the reason I asked Lono if you would have switched to PlayStation if Xbox had been equal quality, if PlayStation is killing it, Xbox can only catch up, but if equal, why would people switch? Kage, I wouldn't have switched. I would have played on both. I would have been buying games and continuing to build a library in Xbox. Phil's not considering any platform additive. He's considering that the standard. Right, like anybody can game through these avenues. I was primarily an Xbox guy, and I ended up playing more on PlayStation this gen, and it was literally because of the quality and the cadence of the games. It's that simple. You can start to yell and scream about first party, and you could say PlayStation has no games. I can't hear you over the sound of how many exclusives I played this year. I can't hear you, and I don't care, and the average consumer doesn't care either. Returnal, Ratchet, Horizon, God of War. I played a little Gran Turismo here and there. It's amazing on PSVR 2. Spider-Man 2, Final Fantasy 16, Stellar Blade, Helldivers 2. I'm counting because that's console exclusive, and I play in my living room. If I wanted to play FF7 Rebirth, Rise of the Ronin, and then I've also played this year Astrobot. Like, I've just been ding, 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 play, game. Redfall, disaster. Starfield, meh. Forza Motorsport launched incomplete and broken, and they weren't even used in competitive circuits because of how bad it was. And then Hellblade 2. Like, it's not even a comparison. It's like, it made it so easy. It's like, I didn't even try. Did I leave out God of War Ragnarok? Yeah, I think I left out Ragnarok. There's so many games I end up forgetting to list games. It's like, that's my point. I don't think Phil's interview, I don't think their marketing, they're not even remotely focused on gamers and what gamers value. A 5-spot from Calabrese. Lono, can we get a big Jiminy Christmas? That saying cracks me up. Jiminy Christmas. And 12 months from WGC. It's a member plus. I think the gain will be kids. If dad has an Xbox, a kid can use numerous devices to play the Xbox games. All right, let me engage with that. Let me bump the line by one member. And then let me do the 20 bomb that I owe you guys. Okay, here's the mistake that you're making. All of the kids that I know that play games are interested in the games. They are. They're interested in the games. Now, the mistake you would make, though, is saying, well, if all they care about is the games and they don't care about the platform, then that's all that matters. Hang on a minute. My nephews were always Xbox and Nintendo and PC, and they got a PS5. Do you want to know why? PS5 had a better and more steady cadence of big first-party next-gen games, and they were like, I want to play those. Spider-Man 2 was the linchpin. Spider-Man 2 was the linchpin. They weren't like, oh no, Xbox is better because of Game Pass and because of PC and because of being able to game in both places. They were like, no, I want to play those games. Games are far more magnetic than accessibility. Like, oh, but you can play the game on your phone or your tablet or a Fire Stick. They're like, I don't care. Is the game any good? Is the game fun? Is the game cool? Are my friends playing the game? That's what matters. The games are magnetism. That's where the magnetism resides. And Nintendo is going to sell an insane amount of Nintendo Switch 2s because they're going to say, do you want to play the newest Zelda? Do you want to play the newest Mario? Then get a Switch 2. The magnetism and what will draw people is the games. That's the IP. PlayStation's taking a different approach. PlayStation doesn't have this 30-year history of monumental IP like Nintendo. So PlayStation's saying, let's invest in the tech. The tech will be magnetism to the devs. The devs will then make better games, and the game quality will then be magnetism to the people, to the consumers. They're both targeting what gamers care about. And Xbox is saying, this is an Xbox. This is an Xbox. This is an Xbox. Okay. What about games? What about game quality? What about innovation within game quality? What about innovation within hardware? Those are the things that create a magnetism with not just gamers, but even somebody who might not consider themselves a gamer right now, or maybe they're taking a break. Look at how many people bought a PS5 that didn't even have a PS4. 20-something million people. Where did those people come from? They just skipped PS4 and they're like, what, a long-standing PlayStation fan? 20-something million people? 20 million people are on PS5 right now and didn't have a PS4. Where did they come from? What was the magnetism? What was it? I'm telling you what it was. It was games. This is why Phil Spencer was wrong when he said what he said on the Kinda Funny podcast. Well, if we drop an 11 out of 10 Starfield, we're not going to change the console fight. Phil, PlayStation got 20 million people to buy a PS5 who didn't have a PS4, and I'd bet you dollars to donuts it was because of the games. He's wrong. And he's even more wrong in his latest interview. And 3 singles from Stone Spire, he puts it to 355. He's tempting a 20 bomb. I love the way you think. A 20 bomb to the next milestone of 375. How else do you think PlayStation got 20 million people to buy a PS5 who didn't have a PS4? How did they do it? They did it with games. The reason that number is the way that it is because for the last 4 years, PlayStation's delivered on the promises of the gen. Xbox didn't. And now that they've spent all this money on these acquisitions, it's like, well, our future is publisher ecosystem. I'm here to tell you, one of those is going to constrain the other. Don't get this twisted. Don't miss this fact. If you're focused on publishing ecosystem, and the ecosystem sitting over here is saying, hey, all of you people making games, all you developers underneath the Xbox ecosystem, not only do you have to work beneath incredibly stupid constraints of an 18-month contract policy, you got to work under that absolute acid to create a process. You also have to make sure all of your games can run on a Series S profile on the cloud because the ecosystem is now a central strategy to the Xbox brand. That is going to be cannibalistic to anything they make and publish. Write it down. You cannot think right now. It's 2024. Any dev project in incubation, any dev project that's being storyboarded that will show up in 5 to 6 years has to go through the garden hose of the Series S or a Series S profile on the cloud. They have hobbled not just their gen of hardware, they've hobbled every developer that they own. What in the world do you think they're going to do? How are these games going to publish at quality, at the expectations that people want? Look at how people are responding to the Pro, and tell me that the gaming consumer isn't going to respond negatively to games that are constrained by Series S. Once again, completely out of touch with what gamers want, because you're making the same mistake you made during the Xbox One era. My video, The Xbox Problem, talks about this. You're going after the non-gaming consumer, and in the process, you're going to lose gamers. You're going to hurt your publishing efforts with all of this. They are. Spice King, PlayStation 5 owner who didn't own a PS4 here. I came from Xbox and it was because of the games. Spice King is a convert. Lone Wolf says, he wasn't wrong though. They were already so far behind, it doesn't matter anymore. No way they make up for PlayStation beating them this saturation 3-1. Okay, Lone Wolf, track with me here, okay? Take away the 20 million from PlayStation right now. They just hit what, 65 million? Okay, take away the 20 million. Drop them to 45 million. And Xbox is what? Close to 30 million? So 30 million, 45 million. You split that 20 between them, and Xbox jumps up to 40, and they jump up to 55. The race is no longer more than 2-1. Like, they would have closed the gap. They quite literally would have closed the gap. Now, I'm obviously assuming that those 20 million people were split between the platforms, and half of them might have chose Xbox and half of them might have chose PS5. But do you see what I'm saying? 20 million people are on PS5 who didn't own a PS4. Those are people that Xbox could have won to their side. PlayStation did it somehow. This whole, like, well, they were so far behind it was hopeless. With Jiminy Christmas, like, PlayStation got 20 million people to buy into the ecosystem who weren't there before. It's already nearly halfway through the generation. No, Lone Wolf, I'm interacting with what you're saying about this gen. Rewind the clock. If Xbox would have come out swinging with the Series X only and big, huge next-gen first-party titles, I don't think you would have seen it go the way that it's going. 20 million people said, I'm going to buy a PS5 and I'm not coming from the PS4. The significance of that just keeps getting glossed over. Those are people you could have won to your side. Let's not forget how many people are still on an older Xbox that haven't come over yet. They're either waiting or something wasn't there or it wasn't good enough. How many people were like, I don't know which system I'm going to buy, or maybe I'm going to get this and maybe I'm going to get that. Like, there are so many consumers they could have won over if they would have taken the approach that PlayStation took. Clearly, the proof is in the pudding. PlayStation got new people. It's possible. PlayStation didn't get new people because they won last gen. Think about the logic. Think about the logic of what Phil said. We lost the last generation, and that's when people started building their digital libraries. So this generation's a lost cause, basically. We can't catch up. PlayStation's sitting there laughing, saying, what a buffoon. Why would you think that? We have 20 million people on PS5s right now that didn't have a PS4. That means during the generation that Phil said was the worst generation to lose, these people didn't come from there. They don't have a library on PlayStation. They didn't build a library during the PS4 generation, and they bought a PS5. He's wrong. He's incredibly wrong. The more I've thought about that, the more I've thought, you guys completely missed the mark this gen. If that was the most important generation, there are 20 million people that prove Phil Spencer's conclusion to be incorrect because they didn't build a library on PS4 and they bought a PS5. That's a lot of dadgum customers. It's a third of the people who own a PS5. A third. If you want Redfall and Starfield had met their hype, this generation would be completely different. I was so hyped for those two games, says Zubair. Where'd they come from if Xbox couldn't find them? I'll tell you where they came from, Kevin. They came from Xbox and PC. Those 20 million people who weren't around during PS... They didn't have a PS4. They weren't building the PlayStation library during what Phil Spencer said was the most important gen. When people were building their digital libraries, they weren't on PS4. I tell you where they were. They were on Xbox and PC. And maybe Nintendo. Or maybe they're new. Who knows? Maybe they saw that Spider-Man. Maybe they saw that Gran Turismo. I don't know. They came from somewhere. This is why the conclusion that, like, this is where the industry's going, herder. What? What are you talking about? Somehow PlayStation managed to get 20 million people into their ecosystem who weren't around during the era that was so important, according to Phil. Well, how'd they do that if the industry's changing and this is where the industry's going? How'd they manage to do that? Lone Wolf says, I'm not talking about the last gen part. I'm talking about the part where he said even with a 11 out of 10 game, I'm saying they can't switch it up now. That's why it's too late. And Phil was right when he said it last year. No, he was wrong. He was wrong. Because you're ripping his comment out of context, Lone Wolf. I'm keeping his comment in context. In context, he said, we lost the worst generation to lose. Because that's when people built their digital libraries. And his conclusion was, even if we launch an 11 out of 10 Starfield, we're not going to change that landscape of saturation. And PlayStation is laughing as they sit upon 20 million consumers who didn't do what Phil said. They didn't build their library during the PS4 era, and they bought a PS5. That means Phil is wrong. He is incorrect. People that built their libraries during that gen, yes, he's correct. It'd be hard to persuade them to switch teams. But there's a third of the people on PS5 that don't even factor into what Phil said. They either lost 20 million people or there's 20 million new people that suddenly decided PlayStation was where they wanted to play. In any case, he's incorrect. Last gen didn't make it impossible to get new people. PlayStation did it. How he got to the conclusion was incorrect. He's correct now because they can't do anything to change that now. Okay, that's the part I'll agree with you, Lone Wolf. It's too late. You are correct. It's over. The ship has sailed. The ship has sailed. It's over. Their path forward would be to try to get it next gen and to try to beat PlayStation and to hope to beat them on price and to hope to beat them on power and to hope to beat them with first party. There's no way they can do it. And Microsoft makes that impossible anyway. Microsoft hamstrings their entire development portfolio with their dumb 18-month contract policy. You're never going to get games to come out at better quality than where they are now. Never. Doom the Dark Ages will probably pull it off because it's id Software, and we all just pray they're not rocking, too many people on a contract. By the way, if you guys are enjoying the show, spicy, hot debates, passionate discussion, that's what we do here. Hit the like button. Let's get 300 likes. Check the $ at the bottom of the chat. Hit that and see if you have a member renewal. You can become a member. It supports me directly and you get into extra content. If you do that, make sure you pick Member Plus at $6. You can also gift members. If we hit the weekly goal, we celebrate with a Friday night stream. And you guys could do it, but MASH can't save your bacon every week. You guys might have to start stepping up and helping him out. And then I gift every 25. I also can add to the total if we hit the super chat goal. You guys can make me add to the total. So those are all great ways to support what we do. The easiest thing to do is show up every day, listen, lurk, and smash the like button. That doesn't cost anything. That's free. So double check right now that you have hit that thumbs up. Astrobot sold 1.5 million over 65 million. Is not saying it's a great sale. If it's on PC day and date, the number will be much higher. No, that's not correct. Astrobot number one wouldn't have sold more on PlayStation. I'm sorry, if it was on Steam day and date, because you would have had to require a DualSense controller to even get the thing to work. The entire game is built around DualSense and the controls on the actual controller. No. And secondly, those type of mascots for the platforms do typically not very well on PC, as evidenced by Sackboy on PC. A day and date Astrobot on PC would have been a joke. And again, he's a mascot for the console. Selling 1.5 million copies of that game is exactly perfectly successful. Like that thing's never going to be a Horizon or a Spider-Man. Anybody saying that game is a flop doesn't understand the market reach and budget of what that game was targeting. It's like Lego Horizon Adventures. Lego Horizon Adventures is going to sell way more copies on Nintendo Switch and be enjoyed far more by a younger audience, and that's what PlayStation wants. Everyone's going to be like, yeah, look how bad Lego Horizon did on Steam, and PlayStation's like, we don't give a frick. Hollow Judgment with 29 months in Member Plus. Me and 50 of my boxing friends just sold our PS5 Pro to play on Amazon Fire Sticks. Cry more. Bumping the line to 356. Thank you so much. Would Astrobot have needed a PSN account? Because I got bad news about that. Yeah, Lego Horizon Adventures requires a PSN account. It would that murders sales and reception and score, because PlayStation doesn't care. They don't care. Steam's additive. Ristic with the 10 bomb takes us up to 366. Rissick is the man. He made sure we hit the goal last week. He did. He ensured that we had a birthday bash last week. Rissick is not playing around. Thank you, dude. There are third-party games on all platforms that don't sell 1.5 million. Yeah, people don't understand. They don't. They spend too much time on Twitter keeping score in a game that doesn't exist. 1.5 million sales for Astrobot is absolutely a success. I'm going over all the sales and the numbers for any game sold on PC and console. Sales would increase. Sales increase does not equal more profit. It also does not equal the business efforts of the platform. PlayStation bringing it to PC would have required a completely different developmental pipeline. They wouldn't have been able to focus so much on the DualSense controller. It would have no longer been a pure mascot for the platform, and the amount of sales they would have received wouldn't have been enough to make up for the additive costs, as well as delaying the project and elongating it before it comes to market, which also increased production costs, which shrinks your margins. So no, this idea that if you just automatically put the game in more places, you make more money is one of the most foolish things I see peddled by people who clearly don't understand basic business practice. It is simply untrue that if you put your game in more places, you make more money. Generating more revenue does not equal more profit, and ignorant people have a really hard time with that concept. They don't get it. They're like, more money, more sales, right? No. Production cost goes up. Length of project extends. All of those things shrink your margins. All of those things shrink your margins because that's money spent. If I have to spend more money before launching my business and I make it take 6 months longer because I want to ship in neighborhoods where I'm not going to sell as many, I've just hurt my profitability. That basic business principle is completely lost on people because they just think, well, more sales, right? Sales, instead of 1.5 million, it could have sold like 2.1 million. Wouldn't that be better? No, not necessarily. It's not automatic. It's not automatic. You would have asked a developer to take more time, potentially leaning on another studio or leaning on parallel development or somebody to help them get it to PC. Like, it's not that simple. It never will be that simple. If it made more money, everybody would do it. These companies spend all day thinking about how to maximize returns. You didn't just outsmart them in the shower. That's exactly right. Rissick with the $5 super chat. He says, let's get it going. My birthday is Sunday. Guys, Rissick's birthday is Sunday. He made sure we had the birthday bash last week. Help this man out. Super chat, gift, do whatever you got to do. Thank you, Ristic. Happy birthday, bro. Like, what Zubair just said is so fundamentally important. Like, these businesses think, what can we do to make as much money as possible? The more the profit goes up, the more these guys over here, the shareholders, are happy. It's not like you're, sitting there on Twitter counting with your fingers and carrying the one, and you're like, yeah, I know better than these companies. They could make way more money if they just put their games on PC. They do it if it would generate more profit. They would. It's why they're doing things like bringing games later, because their projections have shown that could lead to more conversion to our ecosystem, to our console, which then could in turn lead to more profit. And with 20 million people on PS5 that didn't own a PS4, I'd say their strategy's working. And JC gifts a member. Guys, take a quick second. Real quick. Check that like button. We only need 23 more. I keep having to ask for likes multiple times. It's because hate watchers don't want to push the like button. So you got to combat that. You guys got to do your part. Hit that like button whenever you get in here. Your birthday's Monday. Happy birthday. Your birthday Sunday too, Taylor? We got a lot of birthdays in here. A different mindset to you means I'm ignorant. Good to know I'm in a zero mood to be talked to like that. It's not a different mindset. You're wrong. It's not a different mindset. You're incorrect. You're incorrect. You can be factually correct while also being ignorant about other aspects. Like, factually speaking, you can be objectively correct. If they would have put Astrobot on PC, they would have sold more copies. I think that's a fairly factually correct thing to state. That doesn't mean that they make more money. That's the part that you're ignorant about. You're ignoring the entire other more important aspect, which is profit. A 5-spot from Riddish. He says, happy birthday, Rissick. Any word on Starfield for PS5? No. Thank you for the 5-spot. I don't know about Starfield's future, if I'm honest with you. I don't know. I don't know if Xbox is going to let them continue to do it. I think they're going to want them to move to Elder Scrolls. With how Shattered Space performed, I don't know. A lot of my ideas and theories about Starfield have changed because of how poorly Shattered Space performed. And a 5-spot, 5 gifted members from Darren adds to the total and takes us to 372. Thank you so much, Darren. You guys are continuing to help grow this community, and I greatly appreciate it. And Alfonso gifts a member and takes us to 373. You hurt his feelings? I wasn't trying to be unnecessarily harsh, but we always have that debate about how, well, if you put the game in more places, you would make more money. No, that is quite literally drenched in business ignorance. That's not how this works. It's like, just because you can sell more copies doesn't mean you make more money. Like, imagine that you're sitting down at the desk and you're a business executive. And this guy comes in and he says, if we put the game on Xbox, we estimate that we will sell an additional 250,000 copies, 250,000. They're like, yep, we'll sell an additional 250,000. Do you want to know what that executive's going to say? What's the cost associated with doing that against the money that we make from the 250,000 additional sales? Siege Master with 35 months says, no doubt. You saw the Paul Tyson fight results? I mean, I saw a punk get slapped. That takes us to 374. And Jack Garland, who wants to tip this over 10? There it is. We're one away. And 5 gifted members from Siege Master. He doesn't just renew, he gifts and pays it forward. I appreciate that so much, Siege. That's what I'm saying. Copies sold. I don't care what a company earns. I don't work for them. I never said more money once. If a game, day and date, everywhere, more copies will be sold as more people get to play it. Who cares about that? Why do you care about that? And a single from Stone Spire. He sets up the 20 bomb dunker to 400. Chat confetti, says Alapark. There's your confetti. I owe you guys 5 members, and I will do another. I'll let you guys do it again. That super chat goal, you guys can always make me add. I will add 5 members to the total. I will add 5 members to the total. All right. It's not just that I'm gifting as a thank you. I actually add them to the total. The thank you. You guys can do that again. Again, I know some of you guys consistently support the channel with super chats, and you'd prefer to do that over gifting, so you can kind of gift through me. Let me do this. So yeah, so visual, listen to what I'm saying. What's the point then? What's your ultimate point? They could sell more copies if they put it in more places. Yeah. Yeah, I can be more hydrated if I drink more water. You're just stating an obvious fact. What is the point of you stating that fact if you're not trying to insinuate that that would be preferable or would make more money? What was the point in you saying what you said? And not just me, but Siege Master is going to gift 5 as well. And he puts us 10 away, and then it's going to be 9 away at 391. Rabbit says, hello, Lono and chat. Love this community question. What's been the community consensus on the PS5 Pro? Definitely going to get one in the near future. Everybody here seems to really like theirs. I haven't had any members here say that they do not like theirs. And Behemoth with 44 months says, thanks, Lono, for the amazing content. Behemoth, thanks for all the support over the years. And recently, just one of the other big monsters around here, dude. Thank you very much. It does not go unnoticed. It does not go unnoticed. Yeah, generally, I haven't had any of the members or regulars here, like, say they're unhappy with their purchase. Like, visual walkthrough, what's your overarching point then? Well, they would sell more copies if they put it in more places. Okay, what's your point in bringing that up? And a 10 bomb from Behemoth. This guy says, I'm still here, and I'm still dropping bombs. I appreciate you so much, sir. You see what I'm saying? Like, obviously, I zeroed in on the fact that they wouldn't make more money because what would be the purpose in putting them on more places? Well, more people could play. They don't care about that. They're not a charity. They're not Johnny Applegame. They're not Johnny Applegame. Let's just throw games everywhere. My point is, more people getting to play a game like Astrobot or Rise on PC day and date is a good thing, or people who do not own a PS5. I do not agree with you. That's ideological and not business driven. That's an ideological position. That's a position rooted in feelings and belief, not in fact. You are free to think that. I'm not telling you that you can't think that. I'm saying I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in ideology. Well, it's better if more people get to play it. I don't agree. I feel like I get better games when they're built for one system. I feel like the most consistent level of high quality games and experiences I've received is when it's a game built for one system. I have far more issues with games at launch, far more dissatisfaction with games when they're multi-plat. That's been the going theme for the last 4 or 5 years. I don't give a frick about more people getting to play a game. That doesn't do anything to my experience. It doesn't. I wasn't like playing Jedi Survivor and I was like, well, it is multiplat after all. More people are getting to play, so I can completely look past the egregious screen tearing, hitching, stuttering, and, lack of quality at launch for another game that probably needed another year in the oven. More people getting to play doesn't do anything for my experience. I'm not like, well, by golly, Astrobot was a blast. Stellar Blade was my favorite game of the year, but really diminished my experience because more people didn't get to play. I don't care about that. Why should I? Like, if I go to a really expensive theme park and the rides are awesome and they're fast and they're great, would it suddenly make my experience better if they were like, well, we lowered the cost so more people can come in? It's like, that wouldn't do anything to my experience. Well, that might actually diminish my experience. That's a bad analogy because then I have to wait in line longer. Okay, scratch that. my enjoyment of a TV show or a movie doesn't go up because more people can watch it. When I watched The Last of Us on HBO, I got a better TV show because HBO invested in making something super awesome and high quality so that I would subscribe to HBO. And if they were like, well, let's just put it everywhere, what would they have likely done? They likely would have lowered budget, lowered investment, lowered spending. Why? Because they would have gotten less money from it. If they started putting The Last of Us on all these other platforms, they'd get a royalty share, but they'd get less people coming to their platform, which is less money in their pocket, which spreading the movie out or the show out like that would have likely then resulted in a less quality show. Just putting it everywhere doesn't benefit me. It doesn't do anything for me. Oh, I wouldn't have had to sign up for HBO. So? Wow, so Reforge is another consumer that's exactly what's saying let's block and who cares? I'd rather everyone get to play, not just because a plastic box tells me to. See, now you're making the mistake of acting like I care about the company. I care about my experience. If I'm going to give you $70, I want a really great experience. More people getting to play the game doesn't do anything for me. The only time I invoke more people getting to play is better is a live service game because the live service funnel is player dependent and the health, longevity, and enjoyment of the game is intrinsically linked with more people playing. That's why if Helldivers 2 went to Xbox, I wouldn't care. That's more people playing. That doesn't bother me. Great. That potentially keeps the player funnel alive for a longer period of time. I have to admit, I'm not satisfied with my purchase of the Pro, says Lone Wolf. These guys cooked too hard, and it's making me buy games a second or third time so that I can play them on the Pro. Draining my wallet. How does more games being available to your library not benefit? Because I'm not trying to save money. I'm trying to play great games. I'm not trying to save money. I'm trying to play great games. I hope the next Legend of Zelda is mind-blowing, award-winning, and only on the Nintendo Switch 2. And I hope that you don't get to play it unless you buy a Nintendo Switch 2. Why? Because I'm not trying to save money. I'm trying to play great games. And I know that Nintendo will throw everything they have at a Legend of Zelda to drive the sale of their Switch 2. It's a symbiotic relationship. The better the game, the better their sales, the better my experience. I am not just out here trying to save money. I'm trying to play great games. If all you're worried about is saving money and your handout entitled, every game should be on every platform at launch, you and I are not the same because I am not penny pinching, entitled Karen gamer who thinks every game should hit every platform. Nope. Don't agree. Don't agree. In virtually every other avenue of value production, you get something better when the company has a vested interest in making it awesome, so you come to them. Why did I go to HBO for The Last of Us? Why am I going to sign up for Max to watch Penguin? Why? Because they made sure it was amazing. Because they need that to get me to come to them. I don't have my handout entitled like, well, Penguin should be available on all services, so I don't have to subscribe to anything. Shut the frick up. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm interested in getting quality. I don't care if... Now listen, this sounds all cold-hearted because you're thinking in feeling land. I'm not thinking in feeling land. I'm not. I regularly help give money to families and charities and people around me that are not in a position to do things on their own. Lawn care for a family that we know. Why? Because I don't want her doing it. right? Those things matter to me in those environments. When it comes to entertainment and a hobby, I am not going to sit here and be like, oh, but what about the people that can't afford it? That doesn't factor into entertainment leisure hobby. It doesn't. Like when you go buy like the most expensive fishing rod or a really, really nice boat or yacht to take out on the water, are you like, man, I really wish this was more affordable so that more people could do this? No, you're spending the money and you want it to be awesome. If you got to go to this company or this brand for this high dollar item, you do it and you're like, it better be good. It better be high quality. You're not like, well, I wish the price was lower so more people could buy this thing. Alfonso with a gifted member. Like, I have the categories. I slice it. I have people that I ensure have the things that they need. I take care of people financially in my circles that need it. Why? Because that's important to me in my belief system. But when I go buy a video game, I'm not like, oh, but the people who can't afford it, they're not concerned with that. They're not. People trying to make ends meet, people trying to put food on the table are not worried about Astrobot being on more platforms. They're not in the same world, universe, or category. Trill with a VIP. I don't know what you're talking about, Lono. Gaming is 100% a commodity and definitely not a luxury. 404, thank you. Not everyone shares the same values. Ignoring the mobile market or saying mobile gamers aren't gamers. They're obviously spending lots of money. Yeah, I don't agree with saying mobile gamers aren't gamers, especially if you mobile game in China or the Asian market in general. That's a massive amount of money to be made in mobile. And there are mobile games that are actually pretty awesome. So that is an avenue that I think Xbox will probably make a lot of money. Once they get their mobile storefront up and running, once they can bypass Apple and you'd like access their mobile store through a browser and install games there, yeah, that they'll make a bunch of money doing that. Well, no, Christmas is next month. I don't mind you assisting me with the PS5 Pro, just saying. I am sorry. When I have extra, it doesn't go to stuff like that. It goes to people in need. Yeah. 4 terabyte drive donations are accepted here. Yeah. Preacher says, trying to appeal to people that are trying to save money instead of seeking quality is how Xbox got themselves in this situation. So there it is. He doesn't want to wait. Who said they don't want to wait, Eugene? I've always hated the argument, what about people who can't afford it against exclusivity? It was cynical and completely disconnected from the realities of people that are struggling. Listen, I want you to hear this. I do. There's a lot of people here. I guarantee you there's somebody here right now watching me. And times are tough. You can't buy the things you want. You have to buy the cheaper food. You're only filling your gas tank up halfway, and you're on a console, or you're on Game Pass, or you're in some version of gaming where you can only have one platform. Listen, I quite literally, with deep love in my heart, I love you and wish I could care for you and help you. But that has no bearing on when a business brings a game to the market at quality. Like, I see you and feel for you. I absolutely hate that people are in situations like that. Like, it breaks my heart. I genuinely get emotional when I think about it. There are people that are like, I gotta put this much in the tank, and I gotta put this much to groceries. I gotta skip some things, or I'm not gonna make it. My kids aren't gonna make it. We're not gonna make it. I really do genuinely feel for people like that. But when it comes to this topic of like video game quality and what companies should spend their money on, we're in a different category of topic now. The company they literally cannot consider, well, we better put the games everywhere. We better lower our prices because there are people who can't afford it. It's like they would actually end up losing money, be less profitable, and likely have to lay people off and end up harming not just the product that I buy as a consumer, but their own business and company as well. You can't do what a lot of people think you can do in the gaming world. You can't be ideological and like bleeding heart for the people that can't afford. You would damage your business. Imagine trying to launch a lawn care business and being like, well, I'm going to let people pay me whatever they want. And you go into parts of the city that are low income and you don't even make enough to put gas back in your car or back in your lawnmower. You would eventually just start losing your own money in order to do it. And when you do that, you're no longer a business. You are now a charity, which is admirable. It is totally admirable. If you went and did that and that was how you like spending your money and you were essentially donating your money to caring for people who can't do it themselves, God bless you. But you're not a business when you're doing that. You're a charity. And we need charities. We do. We need people that are going to fill in, step in, get in the gap and say, we're going to make sure these people have what they need. We're going to take care of these people. That is such an amazing expression of humanity and love. But you can't ask a development company or a publishing company to do that because they're not a charity. You switch categories the minute you do that. The minute you're prioritizing giving people things at a price they can afford or where they are, you're no longer a business. You're a charity. And we love charities, and we support charities, and we give money to charities. But PlayStation and Gorilla and Insomniac and all these studios, they're not charities. They're big businesses that have to make their bottom line or people get let go. Visual Walkthrough said, I'm not thinking in what you said. I'm thinking more games on more platforms is better. I have played no exclusives in the past 2 years. I have to wait to play them on PC when they are better. You know what's beautiful about that? You determine your value system. Nobody determines it for you. So, Visual Walkthrough, you've determined your value system. And your value system is, I will wait. It will come to my platform. It will be, in your eyes, better. Dependent upon your system, I'm assuming, right? You can get games to perform better than PS5, but your system's got to be strong enough to do it. We're going to assume you have that system. So that means you looked at the market, you looked at what the market offered, and your values told you to buy these pieces of hardware, to build this PC, and to wait. And you determined your values. Nobody determined them for you. And taking your values and attempting to act as if they are axiomatic or truth or objective so that then PlayStation ought to do what you want them to do, well, that's when you make a grave mistake. Your values have no bearing on what a business is going to do. Now, if enough consumers align with your values and the market communicates to PlayStation with money and demand and profit that they should do what you want them to do, well, then you win. But it's not just automatic. Like, well, I believe this. This is my value system, and these companies ought to do it. I really wish they would. You're allowed to want them to do it, but acting like they should, I mean, what in the world? They're not going to unless there's money in it, unless they can make more profit. That's how you get the companies to change their behavior, is with money. That's the gas in the tank. That's what makes them move. It was the tides and the winds that change the direction of a company is money. It's not your ideology or your beliefs. A $5 super chat from Mike on a mic. So on this subject, why is gaming so different from buying a car or buying music? Why do people feel so strongly about it? I believe because they connect with video games in a way that is different. It's not like mechanistic leisure tool. It's experiential. I mean, someone would have to probably study this, but what I think happens with video games is video games are probably the single strongest escape from reality that we have. In times past, it was through a book, a play, then you had movies and TV shows. I believe video games are the apex of humanity's ability to escape from reality. And I believe, like anything, if it's a really, really strong psychological impact, it's almost like a drug. It's like, that's why I think people get so passionate about this. It's interwoven with their existence and their view of the world. To them, it's not just it's not fly fishing. It's not building model trains. It's not other leisure activities or hobbies that could be very expensive. Like, go get into like model trains. It's expensive. Go get into fly fishing. Go get into any hobby. It's extremely expensive. Gaming is like this heightened escape from reality. And if you start taking that from somebody, you start disrupting their ability to do it, well, they're going to get angry. They're not going to like it. They're going to be very demanding. I get it. I think in general, there are just two different philosophies here. And one is, I'm going to approach gaming and I don't want to buy more than one platform. Everything should come to this platform. And I think that is unrealistic. It is. You can have your allegiance to PC and Steam. It doesn't matter to me. You can be all about Nintendo and have a Mario tattoo. Though I don't care about that. I think that it's unrealistic to expect developers to spend more money, more time, and take greater risk so that games could land everywhere. Anytime we've ever had this axiom debate, this idea that games should just be everywhere. Oh, that's just automatically better for the consumer. No, it's not. Not if the game it takes longer to come to market and is at lower quality. That didn't benefit me at all. It didn't. The irony of this debate is it's a lot of times propagated by PC master race guys or people in PC land who are, and I've seen this expressed, they are super irritated that they can't just get those awesome PlayStation games. They got to wait. I've seen it. I've seen the comments, the forums, the threads, the tweets. They get irritated that they have to wait, okay? But the irony is they get a better product because they wait. They do. 100%, it's far better for Guerrilla or Sony Santa Monica to build just an amazing, optimized, rock solid, really good game. And then it gets ported by a porting company that's really good at what they do. And you get a polished, solid product. Now, we obviously are going to ignore The Last of Us Part 1 port. Let's just ignore that. Look at the Days Gone port. Look at the recent ports especially. Horizon Forbidden West, Spider-Man 2, God of War 2018, God of War Ragnarok, right? Well, Spider-Man 2 is not here yet. That's early next year. The ports are so high quality, so solid, so good. Like, you actually get a really good product because that process respects the cycle of making a good product, and it's not all just massively concerned about quantity. What's quantity done for Xbox? Do you feel like Xbox going to quantity was better? Look at Xbox just for a second. Think about Xbox. All of their games for a long time now, for the last 4 years, their games hit PC, Series S, and the Series X. More platforms, right? Did that benefit you as a consumer? Did you get better products because of that? I think you could argue rather compellingly that Xbox's attempt to go quantity hurt quality. It did. Starfield, Redfall, Forza Motorsport, Halo Infinite, all of those games, I believe, the push for quantity hurt the quality. To argue the opposite would be absolute buffoonery. If you want to look at the quality of Returnal, Ratchet, Horizon Forbidden West, God of War Ragnarok, Spider-Man 2, Stellar Blade, Astrobot, I'm picking the bangers, the ones that came out really optimized and ran really well. Take those 7 games. Now let's look at what Xbox delivered. Have their games been at the caliber and the quality of those games? Xbox went more quantity. Hey, more people could play Xbox games at launch, could they not? More people, right? It's on PC, it's on the Series S, it's on the Series X. That's a broader spectrum of launch. Did you get better quality? Did you? I don't think that you did. Look at the review scores. Look at the user scores. Look at the quality breakdowns. Look at the performance breakdowns. Look at these games at an objective technical level. Did you get better quality product? So is it better for the consumer automatically for a game to land in more places? No. I think you can demonstrate the literal opposite. I think you can demonstrate the opposite. If you're objective, if you're factual, if you remove feelings from the room, it's undeniable that games built for one system, the PlayStation Studios this gen have quite literally demonstrably proven that going quantity, putting games in more places, does not equal that's better for the consumer. I wholeheartedly disagree. All right, I don't know if I missed anything. Hang on. Did I miss any super chats or anything? Mike on the mic, I got yours. I already added the 5. We are on the runway to 500. We're on the runway. You guys are crushing it. Do me a quick favor and smash the like button. Thanks for a strong turnout on this Friday. Somebody was trying to ask me. They were like, so what you're saying is, I'm trying to find the comment. Windsor guy says, so you're trying to say, Lono, that things will always stay the same from the 90s to the 2000s? Never said that. So then by that logic, VHS should be making things, nothing digital era, because that's what happened, times changed. Completely missing the point. Quite literally, what you're saying is what I've been arguing against when I argued against Phil Spencer when it came to hardware. Stone Spire pokes the line to 405. He's like, hey, a 20 bomb will get us to 425, and that's the next milestone. Stone Spire's trying to get somebody to do a 20 gifted bomb. Guys, again, double check that you have hit that like button. It does help the video. It helps us find more people. Thanks for another strong turnout. I quite literally have not said that this is the way that it's always been and that's why it should stay. I've never said that. I'm demonstrating that companies are driven by profit. That's not going to change. And because they're driven by profit, you can't just say, oh, but if you put the game in more places, that's better for the consumer. If you put the game in more places, you'll make more money. None of that's true. Game devs make the game on PC and then move them over to console. Are you saying there are game devs that do that, or are you saying all games do that? All game devs do that. That's a complete misunderstanding of game development. If you think every game is made like on PC or for PC and then brought to console. Yes, they develop in the PC realm on a dev kit for a console, so it's being made for and optimized for and built for a console. It's not like they build a PC version and then bring it over to console. That's completely untrue. There are games that do that. They hit PC first and then come to console later. Early Access does that all the time. They launch 1.0, they make enough money, they can then fund the port, and then they make other versions. Joker Quinn with a gifted member, thank you so much. Like Death's Door. Death's Door sold like 100,000 copies in its first week on Steam, and then later on they ended up on other platforms. I'm speaking from my experience as a former game tester. Speaking from experience with respect to what? Are you claiming that all games are made for PC first and then ported over? That was the way you phrased it. Is that what you intended to say? Because that is not true. They don't make the games for PC and then port them over. They work on a PC, but they're working within the dev kit of the console, meaning they're making the game for console. And a gifted from Ritzik takes us to 407. Little single gifted train going on right now. Apple, the most successful consumer electronic company in the history of human civilization, would disagree with the idea of make everything available to everyone. Businesses in general don't do that. Businesses in general don't believe that because it's not true. It isn't true. You can't just make something for everyone. You always are going to have a target audience. Always. You're always going to have a target audience. You're going to have people that you think will buy it and other people that you don't think will buy it, and you're going to spend your money making sure that that's who ends up buying it. Like the idea that something should be made for everybody, or whatever the case may be. I think people get ideological. They think that like, well, this would be better for me, therefore it would be better. And again, I think that's a mistake. I think it being better for you is subjective. Just getting more games in more places doesn't automatically mean that that's better for you. I think what's better for you is you getting games at quality, you getting games that are polished and ready for the market. That's what I think. The PlayStation 5 Pro is capable of delivering impressive 8K resolution gameplay in No Man's Sky, so much so that the game's 8K mode could begin to change minds about the viability of such high resolution. Eugene says, being made on is not the same as being made for. Also, if it was that simple, they'd never need to use a porting company. This is exactly right. Yeah, just because a game is made on a PC doesn't mean it's made for PC. That's a mistake that might be being made here. Like Eugene is saying, you wouldn't need a porting company. Every game would be able to just come to PC then. It'd be like, well, yeah, just throw it over there. We were making it on PC, weren't we? Like, in the case of Xbox games, says Lone Wolf, it does do more for me because it means I don't have to play the games at 30. I can play them on my PC at 60. That doesn't mean PlayStation should do it, though. Who cares if you can play the game at 60 if it's not a good game? I mean, good golly. Like, Lone Wolf, come on. Think about what you're saying. I was able to play Starfield at 60, and I had to play Hellblade and Starfield at 60 on my PC. I had to retreat from my Xbox, right? That's where I had to play those games. Being able to do that didn't benefit the game. You're saying that because I had the option of retreating from the console to the PC, that didn't make the game any better. I think Starfield's a good game. That's fine. You can think it's a good game. I can think it's a mediocre game. I think I can objectively state that being able to go play the game on PC at 60 FPS didn't make it a better game. It didn't. It didn't add to the game's quality. It allowed me to avoid subpar performance on a box made of lies. Like, that's what it enabled me to do. That's all a Series X is. It's literally a plastic. It's a 1.5 foot tall plastic box of lies. That's all it is at this point. So I'm able to run away from that and go get 60. That didn't make the game any better. It's still the same game. The game hasn't changed. And guess what? They patched it on Series X, and now it can run at 60. So that doesn't net me increased value in the game. It can make the experience better, like what Gojira is saying. 30 can make the experience worse for sure, but being able to pivot to PC did not net me some injection of value into Starfield. Microsoft Xbox games equal mid. I don't even know if it's that the studios or the games are mid. I think they make it impossible for the studios to flourish. I do. I think they make it impossible for the studios to flourish because they basically set it up to where you can't have you can't have any good vision cohesion at all. Yeah, AI is pretty good at summarizing the chat. Anybody with a brain knows this Xbox marketing push will fail because it's not for anyone. It's just a one-size-fits-all scattershot. Hadigan says, Lono, it took around 40 hours for me to find one quest line I was genuinely excited and shocked at in Starfield. I stopped playing after that quest because it went back to being slow and boring. Yeah, I appreciate that there are people who tried, failed, or succeeded at enjoying Starfield. Like, I genuinely can appreciate that and, you know, have respect for that. That you either tried and succeeded or you tried and you failed to enjoy Starfield, right? Because I'm one of the ones that tried and failed, okay? And Phantom Liberty is part of the cause there. My point was not about that. My point was, if you look at the consumer response, okay, look at the consumer review scores on the Xbox Store and Steam, and you ask the question, imagine that you are not in the gaming world, okay, and you have been tasked, let's just say you're a business major in college, and all you like to do is play golf. But for your business major, they want you to analyze the business strategy of Xbox and the business strategy of PlayStation. And they want you to assess, this is your research project, which business strategy has yielded better results with respect to the quality of the product and the value the consumer has received. You would, when you remove bias from the situation, you would undeniably conclude that PlayStation has delivered a better cadence and a higher level of quality than Xbox has. You would conclude that going for quantity and having your developers push out games for PC, Series S, and X is actually detrimental to the quality of the product when compared to PlayStation's strategy of one system, build the game for that system. Again, you're coming from the outside in, and all you're doing is you're looking at the review scores from the users, you're looking at the sales, you're looking at the overall reception and the quality assessment from the consumer of what both companies have done, and you're trying to deduce which strategy is better. It would be undeniably in the favor of what PlayStation has been doing. What are you going to call that business major a pony? Yeah, sure, pony. No, he literally would just go look at the user scores. He would look at all available data. He would look at all of the available info, and he would say, well, yeah, these games have scored significantly lower. These games have received significantly more criticism, backlash, and waning player bases. And these games over here have significantly higher scores, significantly higher praise and consumer reception, and far more commercial success. There'd be no doubt. There wouldn't be any other conclusion to come to. And this is why I keep coming back to, this is an Xbox. This is an Xbox isn't going to change anything. This is an Xbox is another attempt from what I think this is all driven by executives. I think the executives at Microsoft, the executive levels at Microsoft are saying, well, you're losing that fight. Go out and try and get people out here. I think the same thing happened with the Xbox One. I think you let Microsoft executives in the room and they thought, hey, that gaming thing you're doing's pretty cool. I tell you what we should do is we should build an all-in-one entertainment device and really stress TV. They presumed on the loyalty of the gamers. We're going to get the gamers. They presumed on that loyalty and thought, well, we're going to get these TV people. TV, right? And it didn't work. I think they're doing the exact same thing again. some executive, whether it's Sati or somebody else, is saying, you're not going to get more consumers out there in Gamerland. You've lost the hardware fight. So why don't we try and get people through mobile, tablet, smart TV, Fire Stick, browser? They're doing the same thing. Loner, you should trademark buffoonery. That's not how you would spell it. I'm saying buffoonery as in a buffoon. B-U-F-F. Buffoonery. Behavior that is ridiculous but amusing. I'm using it more to describe foolishness, but yeah, buffoonery. A buffoon. Right? A buffoon is a person who amuses others by ridiculous behavior. A clown. A goofball. Yeah, our coffee is organic, yes. ReforgeRoast.com. If you would like to support the channel and me and my family directly, and you're a coffee drinker, check out ReforgeRoast.com. I'll show you the website here. We have a variety of flavors. We just brought back our holiday flavor, the Frickmas Blend. This is actually extremely popular. Oh, and we have new merch, it looks like. We have beanies. I didn't even know we had beanies. I'll have to get one. We have mugs. We have t-shirts. We have tumblers. And we have hoodies. So if you're Team Dark Roast, Light Roast, or Team Frick, these hoodies are actually really awesome. I could bring one down and show them to you. But you go to ReforgeRoast.com. Now, the merch doesn't come from me. That is going to be supplied by, a back-end merch supplier that we have. So we make, a bit of commission on the merch. Okay? The coffee is ours. It's in the house. My wife and my kiddos will bag this up and they will ship this to you. My favorite flavor, probably the Frickmas, followed by the Dark Roast. If you're not really a big coffee drinker, the Light Roast is the most drinkable of the bunch. It's so smooth. They are all very smooth. They all have what's called balanced or low acidity, meaning they don't have that bitter coffee bite that other coffees can have. So if you've ever wanted to get introduced to coffee, get the Light Roast and put Italian sweet cream in it, and you may become a coffee drinker. And it supports me. And my wife and kiddos bag it up and put little thank you notes in the bag for you. I've been drinking Frickmas all this morning. We do not deliver coffee to the UK. The shipping cost is so incredibly high that we don't think it's responsible to have somebody spending that level of money to get coffee. If you want to support me, you're far better off doing like a super chat or a gifted member. If you ordered coffee in the UK, 80% of what you would spend would just go to the post office. It's so you're just like giving money to the post office. You wouldn't be really essentially, like, I don't think it's right to take your money and have that happen with it. That feels really irresponsible to be like, hey, you want to support me, and you just spent a bunch of money to get coffee, and most of it went to the post office. That just feels like that always made me feel bad when people did it. Yo, Sal, with 5 gifted members, he says, come on, boys, we're running out of time. We're running out of time to hit the goal. 412 members. Purple Haze super chats $5 and gets us a little bit closer to the super chat goal. She says they already did. That's why they brought out former McKinsey consultant Sarah, who is going to drive growth through cost cutting and low risk bets. Yeah, and my estimation is, Purple, I said this earlier. I think Xbox's efforts with ecosystem and quantity, I think that's going to be cannibalistic to their publishing efforts. I think it's going to hurt the games they make. That's what I think. I think all projects right now that are underneath the weight of Microsoft saying every 18 months your contract workers got to go, right? All your games have to run on profiles on cloud, Series S profiles. I think operating underneath the weight of that is going to absolutely murder their publishing efforts. I think they're going to end up releasing games that aren't going to be at very good quality because of that. And a gifted member from RPG bumps the line to 413. Thank you, sir. Like, I don't see it working. Think about development companies right now that crank out really good content, really good value. They're not working under that constraint. They're not. They're not working under like a, hey, if you have any contract workers, they got to leave every 18 months. They're not working underneath that. They're not working underneath the multi-platform quantity focus of like, well, it's got to run on cloud. It's got to run on a Series S profile. It's got to run on the litany of guy mowing got really close to the window. Like, what in the world? You've got to make sure it runs on the litany of combinations of PC. Oh, it also needs to run on a PS5. Oh, you also need to tap into PS5 Pro enhancements. Like, I don't think you're going to get good games out of that equation. That sounds terrible. Listen, there are people that are going to spin this as a positive. Well, more games for more people. That's good, right? I don't think so, as we debated earlier. Dan gifts a member and bumps the line to 414. Thank you, Dan. I love to see people paying it forward. What are some of the award-winning games that have come out recently, and what's their development process been like? That's not it. That's not a recipe for good game development. It isn't. And I guarantee you, everything I've said today, everything I've talked about, the people on that side that are still defending green, that want to convince the world that I'm this grifting pony, they're going to do the same thing. Yep. There's that Reforge Gaming. Xbox is bad. PlayStation's good. No, I'm just doing basic business assessment of what they're doing. And I don't see other successful development companies doing that. I don't see companies that are cranking out their award-winning games and their high-quality stuff, but like Baldur's Gate 3 was on all systems but the Switch. I knew someone was going to say Baldur's Gate 3, and that's a trap because you know how that came to market. You just demonstrated exactly what I'm talking about. They were not operating under the same system or constraints. They went through early access. And they did all sorts of changes, polishes, updates, all of that before it even touched a console. So, what you just did was demonstrate my point even more. And even still, Baldur's Gate 3 had issues in its late game. They still are working on some of the stuff. What was it, Act 3 that they had to do some pretty significant polishing and patching? But that demonstrates the same thing. Like, if they would have been trying, imagine Baldur's Gate 3 trying to come to market underneath Microsoft ownership. Think about what you would have received. Good Lord, that displays the point. Imagine Larian trying to do what they did with Baldur's Gate 3, but they're underneath Microsoft ownership. Holy mackerel. It wouldn't even have been the same game. A 2-spot from Raven. Can we not hit the like button, chat? Yeah, we need to hit 400 likes. Let's do it, chat. Like, they would have been trying. They would have been trying to make a game for Series S, which would have basically put it would have put a huge stop to their local co-op efforts. All those intertwining systems and things that they had to build. All of the different complexities. It wouldn't have been an early access. They wouldn't have got any player feedback. It still has game-breaking bugs in it. Yeah, I mean, a game of that size and complexities probably still to this day got issues. That's not shocking at all. Now imagine Larian making Baldur's Gate 3 with Sony Support Studios even better. I actually think Larian we got what we got because of what early access in Steam affords developers to do, and I would love to see PlayStation take on a similar mindset, especially with their live service games. Hiroki Totoki seems to be open to the idea, which I hope then PlayStation is also open to the idea. I think the greatness that is Baldur's Gate 3 wouldn't have happened any other way. It needed to be on Steam and in early access. Meaning there is no one-size-fits-all for game greatness, right? That precisely demonstrates why, like, Larian making a game and just putting it everywhere was not a recipe for what we got. The recipe was tap into early access, get Steam, homies to jump into the game and give you steady feedback, like foster a symbiotic relationship with the public. That's how you got what you got. I wish PlayStation would lean more into that and come up with a system where that could work. I think they're going to have to come up with a solution for early access if they want to get live service games off the ground. PlayStation's doing more and more early access games. Towers of Agasba is another example, which is coming out next week. They've also announced a lot of demos recently, which I am fully in support of demo culture. I think demo culture is fabulous. Letting people play a game for an hour or two, or letting people play a demo before buying. I think that's one of the best ways to sell a game. Like whenever there's a demo on Steam, but the game is also on sale and I'm unsure about it, I'm far more likely to try the game out and potentially buy it. Demos are a very, very healthy catalyst to getting people to buy a game. Do you think this is an Xbox marketing and recent Phil Spencer interview is good for Xbox? Let's do this. I should have done a poll. Guys, we're going to stream for a little bit longer. You got a ways to go on the goal, though. So if you want to hit that goal, we're going to need to click it into high gear. And I'm going to put up a poll and see what you guys think here. Save image as... No. Can I get another? That thumbs up was such a cool animated GIF. I like using animated GIFs on these. Let's see if we can do no thumbs down animated GIF. Does this one animate? It does. Okay. Here we go. Image poll. I'm going to ask the question, do you think, yes, no, live discussion. Do you think the This is an Xbox marketing and recent Phil Spencer interview is good for Xbox? Very straightforward question. We'll throw this out here as a way to maybe get some more people in here. Do me a favor, man. Keep smashing that like button if you haven't already. A lot of you guys come in, you lurk, you chill, and you listen, and we greatly appreciate that. There we go. That poll is available on the community tab on the channel. I did a super chat, but it didn't show up. Got an email and a Google from YouTube. I thanked you for it, Raven. You said, can we hit the like button? Did you do another one after that? Because that one hit. I saw it and I read it. Who remembers demo discs? Right? I love the demo culture. I remember back in the day on the Xbox 360, my wife and I were playing Xbox arcade games almost every night. We found a really great game called Crimson Alliance. It was a top-down ARPG dungeon crawler. We played a game called, like, I think it was like Gatling Wars or something, where you were like a little robot, like a little tank robot rolling along the ground, getting all these upgrades and stuff. Good for Xbox in what way? Good for the survival of the box? No. Good for third-party marketing? Yes. No, I miss it on iPhone. You're very welcome. Thank you, Raven. Yeah, the good for Xbox is obviously a pretty subjective question, right? Good in what way? Good in what way? Like, what's it going to do for them? You know, is it going to help grow their consumer base? Is it going to help? Is it like, see, that's the thing that I'm confused about. Because Phil's justifying this pivot of the brand because they've got to go get more customers. You wish there was a neutral answer? How could it be neutral? It can't be neutral. It's going to be good or bad. It's not just going to be ineffective nothing. I bought Zone of the Enders just for the demo of Metal Gear. They'll make more money as a third-party publisher, so that's a win. Hang on, Brett. Hang on. You're conflating categories. You're taking two categories and mashing them together. This is an Xbox. This is an Xbox. This is an Xbox. That has nothing to do with being a third-party publisher. It's a commercial for their ecosystem. It's a commercial for, like, people on mobile phones and Fire Sticks to play their games. Publishing is like what they're doing with Black Ops and Indiana Jones and Doom the Dark Ages. I don't think that has anything to do with this is an Xbox. I think those are different categories entirely. I don't think putting Game Pass everywhere will get more people to adopt Game Pass. It's pretty accessible already. You don't even need more consumers because their ecosystem is going out the window. You just need to sell more games. Brett, I don't think that's accurate. I don't think their ecosystem is going out the window. I think this is an Xbox marketing is quite literally a marketing push for their ecosystem. I'm drawing a line between the two. I think their ecosystem is just going to be everyone else's ecosystem. I don't think that that's correct. No, I don't think that that's correct. I think their entire push with this marketing of this is an Xbox is accessing Xbox's ecosystem, storefront, and Game Pass through all of these various devices. That's what I think they're pushing. That's what I think their goal is. Their publishing efforts are separate from this because their publishing efforts, they're not going to say that PlayStation and Nintendo Switch are an Xbox in this marketing, because I don't think this marketing is about their game publishing. It's about their ecosystem. It's just my theory right now. I think they'll use everyone else's storefronts. I actually think you're correct. I just think you've got things a little bit misconfigured. I think this marketing push with ecosystem and this is an Xbox will push them faster toward just primarily being a publisher. I don't think they're going to get return on this marketing push. I don't. I think they're going to turn around in 2 to 3 years and they're going to say, we're not getting conversion that we need to justify this. Maintaining and supporting the infrastructure to be on TVs, Fire Sticks, phones, tablets, having all that cloud, having all that capacity and all that available, I don't think it's going to lead to enough conversion to justify. I think it's just going to hurdle them toward publishing more than ecosystem. I think they're going to make most of their money from their gaming efforts. I think they're going to make most of their money from the mobile storefront and the mobile games, because we know those already print tons of cash. And once they can take games out of the Apple store and only sell them through their store, they're no longer sharing anything with Apple. And then they're just going to be publishing games on PlayStation, Nintendo, and Steam. I think they'll whole slate day and date on PlayStation eventually. Yes. Yeah. I think by the time something like Blade shows up, they're not even going to care. It won't even be a second thought. It'll be like, no, we're a multi-plat publisher. That game better be ready for every available platform. There's no reason to wait at that point. By the time you get to the point where it's totally normal, I just want you to think about how fast it was this year. A $5 super chat from Purple Haze gets us to 3 out of 10 on the goal, and she says, when you try and figure out what can make Xbox successful in Microsoft's eyes, the only real solution is a third-party publisher. It's hard to see it any other way. I totally agree with you. By the way, I watched one of your streams, and you were talking about gaming going through a midlife crisis. I thought it was a really interesting way of observing what's been going on. I was like, oh, that'd be a good show. We need to figure out how to bring guests on in this new format that I do, because I think that would be a fun topic. Like, pull you into Discord, and I had a guy in here the other day doing that. Just like, every game sucks, every game is slop, gaming's not fun anymore, all these games suck. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, you're playing the wrong games. You need to take up fly fishing. And I thought your conversation about it was actually pretty good. I was enjoying it. Microsoft faces a big cloud problem, though. AWS is dominating and expected to own over 50% of the cloud market over the next few years. Azure isn't the industry standard. Right, but you're talking about cloud services and getting businesses to subscribe to them. Gerorian, I don't know how to say that. Garowin with the 5 bomb on the members gets us really close to the next milestone, 419. 1 away from 420, 6 away from 425. You guys are going to have to keep it going if you want to hit 500 and get a Friday night stream. Yeah, he showed performance in the games, Hellfire. He had to do a lot of tweaking. In Linus's video to get games to run. Oh, Jerome. I got it. Yo, Jerome, welcome back. 5 months of membership. Just paying back my gifted membership. That's very kind. I appreciate that. Was just going live impromptu. Wasn't a fully thought out show. Sometimes those are the best shows. Yeah, he does, though, Hellfire. He shows quite a bit of tinkering that he had to do in Ratchet and others. I was disappointed that he didn't test Horizon Forbidden West. I was pretty critical yesterday of the video. Purple Haze with 5 gifted members puts us on the doorstep of 424. There it is. One more, and I owe you guys 5. We're getting close. You might need the big boys to step in to help out. We got some time. It's Friday. We can extend a little bit. Yeah, Dan, he's taken his life into his own hands. Yeah. Breeding Helldivers. To tackle the excessive bombardments by our novice gunners in the Democracy Space Station, SCAF has authorized emergency uses of the following: shield emplacements to mitigate blast damage, bonus reinforcements to help Helldivers complete missions to the effective areas. This is a temporary change with further assessment of the DSS tactical actions to be carried out by high command. Man, that sounds an awful lot like what I said they need to do with Helldivers, which is you need experimental temporary buffs to things to keep things lively, and you create a context for power rising and falling and never really staying put. They're getting close. To the RFD, to the RNDFD, Research and Development for Democracy. AWS is the biggest, but it's not like Azure is small. Yeah. Azure's doing fine. I mean, and again, you're talking about cloud-based, solutions. That narrative cohesion you mentioned. I'm telling you, Helldivers has got such an opportunity to create rotating seasons of dominance of power and make it a part of the narrative and the lore. It's just right there in front of them. They can cover up over-tuning something by doing stuff like this. That's exactly right. Just give us something crazy and overpowered for an entire season or for a war bond, and then be like, oops-a-daisy, sorry, the research and development. And again, I think you just classify them as experimental. You could classify... You could classify everything as experimental. Here's an experimental weapon. Here's an experimental stratagem. And then so people would know it's not going to stay this crazy. It's limited. Why does a certain big influencer section always agree with everything Xbox does and never questions it? Because it's good for their established relationship with Microsoft and Xbox. Because, there's financial benefits to towing the party line. Yo, Jack Garland with 5 gifted members. There it is. I owe you guys 5 more. We're at 529. Thank you, Jack Garland. So generous today supporting the channel with super chats and gifteds. Here's the 5 that I owe you guys. Listen, I will probably never get in a good relationship with PlayStation because of how critical I've been of them. I'll never get codes for Xbox. We know this. Developers and publishers there's absolutely no way I'm going to get on good lists. I'm just too critical. You can't sit in a chair and get on your mic and call PlayStation dumb for requiring PSN on single player games on Steam and then be like, hey, can I get a code for your next game? Like they're going to be like, no. Now you get big enough and maybe they'll overlook it. But like certain people have gotten to the size they have where they are by playing nice with the big publishers and the big platforms and the big games, and they're not going to disrupt that. They're not. It's a hard pill to swallow, but like it's just the way that it is for some of these guys. It's just like you can't burn that bridge. You can't come out and be like, I don't like what Xbox is doing. I think this is a bad idea. I feel betrayed. I feel angry. You do that, and you're going to lose your access. You're going to lose your access. And that access is money. It is. You might have talked about this earlier, says Joel. I got in here, not trying to change the subject. What's your opinion on Xbox's new marketing slogan? I don't like it. So Joel, I've been pretty critical of it. I was critical of Phil Spencer's comments in the Rolling Stone interview. And MASH with the 50 bomb takes us all the way to 479. What a freaking maniac. Jiminy Christmas. Look, somebody do a single and somebody take the 20 bomb away from MASH. Do not let him do this. Take it away from him. Come on. There's another big boy in chat. There's got to be somebody. Do not let him do it. Just a single and a 20, and then we're done for the week. MASH does too much, all right? I want somebody to beat him. So during my show open, I was critical of Phil Spencer's remarks, and I've been critical of the marketing as well. And here's essentially the too long didn't read, Joel. There it is. Stone Spire bumped the line to 480 with a single. My man. All right, there it is. Teeing it up. So here's why I was critical of it. And Mike on a mic is going to give us a little bit of padding. It's okay. The little bit of padding is totally fine. I'm critical of it because I don't think it'll work. Phil Spencer's logic and his reason is, and Insomniac Black does the same thing, gives us a little bit of padding. All right. I appreciate it. He's saying the console user base isn't growing, so we have to go to these other places. And that's why they're doing this. I'm here to tell you, I don't think there's this reservoir or this waiting monsoon of would-be gamers who are suddenly going to start interacting with Xbox's games, their ecosystem, well, because now they can play through their TV, a Fire Stick, or a tablet. Think about everybody who owns a smart TV right now that can engage with Xbox Game Pass Cloud ecosystem, that whole thing. And they're not a gamer. They don't play games. They don't have a console, okay? This is who they're trying to get. And a 10 bomb from MASH. He's so ornery. Like, I can see and feel the smirk on his face. So, Janix! Jaddix does it. The 20 bomb from Jaddix. That's it. That's it. No stretch goal. If you guys hit 600, I don't know what you pick what you want me to do tonight. No stretch goal. You guys can determine what we do if you hit 600, right? We were going to do Mike Tyson fight watch party. I can't show it to you, but we can watch it together and commentate. Fright Night with Madam. Lego Horizon with Madam. If you guys keep going and hit 600, you can determine what we do tonight. I'll let you vote, but I'm not calling for it. I usually have been saying to stop. I'm like, we've hit it. We've stopped. If you rebel and you generously go crazy anyways and ignore me, so be it. But you feel free to stop. We're good. We got it. We'll do it again next week. All right. So check my message if you can. Hang on. D the Great says, I know my homegirl is a big-time creator, and she told me how Xbox made them feel like family, giving them consoles and accessories, and they feel forever loyal. She feels so betrayed right now. Wait, is she a content creator? D the Great? Who's your girl? Do I know them? I've been wanting to have guests on. I think it'd be fun, like, on a regular basis, especially on Fridays. Like, I want to get Mike back on the show. We got to get 30 and Still Gaming back on the show. I think it'd be fun to end the talk show with bringing somebody on and just asking them what they think about the week and the topics and get their perspective, or, you know. Lona will invite you to Thanksgiving if we hit 1,000. No. You guys can make me play. I tell you what we could do. That Sven game, that Sven Goat game, I'll play. You can make me play a game like that. Like a terrible, awful game if you guys hit stretch. You might. She's a creator. What's her name? You can. I don't consider it promotion. You can tell me. You can tell me. I won't. I don't take offense. You've been very tactful about it. Feel free. I inadvertently promoted Purple Haze. You guys could check her out. She does content. I think she's great. You should check her out. Check out her content. Check out her content. Y'all behave yourself. I'm not sending you over there to be like that. Check out her content. Sven says, I've been waiting for this day. What about Ginger and the other guy? Yeah, I'd have Ginger on. We don't agree on some things recently. That might be entertaining. I see things a lot differently than him, and I think that makes for good content. The Queen G22. Where does she primarily create? Okay. 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 Good for you. Good for you. I'm just kidding. No, but for real, good for you. Okay. 24,000 subscribers. Her videos do very consistently well for a 24,000 sub channel. Yeah. Yeah, we got to get Detective Seeds on here on a regular basis. She covers all kinds of stuff. This is a good channel, bro. How long has she been doing this? 1 year? Get the frick out of here. Where'd she come from? Did she come from Twitch or something? She's on the cusp of a 25K channel, and she's been making videos on this channel for a year? Oh, she's had the channel since 2021, so maybe did she do a reset or something a year ago? YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. Okay. Yeah, good for her. This is a really healthy channel over here. On the cusp of 25K. Oh, okay. So did she kind of start Purple and then launch this channel? Okay, that's still good. I mean, I was just gonna say, I was like, that's really tough to do, to like start making content and a year later have, a 25K channel and be averaging anywhere from 3 to 6 or 8,000 views a video. That's good. That's good work. You need seeds for that buttery accent. No, I need Seed so he can hold up a piece of paper to the camera and then nobody can frickin' see it. And then I need him to hold his hands up and explain. I love that clip. I love it. I love it. All right, I'm going to subscribe to her channel, the D the Great. I'm serious. I'm serious. I would like to start having people on. If she's open to it, wants to come on the show sometime, same to you, Purple. We got to get Mike back on here. You know, with the format of gaming news today, we can just bring people on and be like, all right. Let's talk about this. What do you think about this subject, that subject? What do you think is going on here? I think that'd be fun. Yeah, Donnie would be fun. I think we need to screen guests now. I think a guest is different than a weekly like alignment. You know? I think that's different. You know, like having somebody on and being like, hey, let's talk about it. That could be fun. And then if we find out, we're not really a match, this really isn't good, whatever, we can just kind of move on. But like a weekly segment, kind of like what we did with a person that we now don't want to really do anything with. That's always the risk you take when you do what we did, which is like, I'm open to avoiding that. I'm just talking about having a guest on. That's different. Yeah, Doc Dark, but only from his car. Yeah. He did a video recently and the dryer was running. And I'm like, did this man put a beat on his video? Like, oh no, it's just his dryer. It's just his dryer. I was like, shut the dryer off, Doc. What are you doing? Like, come on, man. I'm trying to listen to what you have to say. Oh my gosh. Dude's got a beat going in the back of his thing. Yeah, Porter Rock would be fun. I like P-Rock. He's nice. Just have randos as guests like Satya Nadella, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, the Pope, God. You know, get a nice mix. Oh my gosh. God love him though. Yeah, I like him. He's fun. You should do that. I'm all about it. You get us. You connect us. Get me connected, right? To the Queen G22, you know, and we'll work it out. Because with the way we do this format now, I could bring them on for the last hour. You know, is this you on her Instagram? Is this you with the bald head? Okay, you're one of those couples. That's fine. You know, you're one of those couples. One of those couples where both people are good looking. Frick you. I'm kidding. You're one of those couples, huh? Uh-huh. Two good looking people. What the frick? Okay. Let me set up the She's cool on. I've been watching her for about a year. No, that ain't me. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that another man? Is that her brother? Is that her brother or something? You know? Who is that? Over there on the gram with her. Yeah, Jaffe was fun. I want to have Jaffe back on. Yeah, dude. Jaffe was a good time. All right, let's schedule this. All right, hang on. I'm scheduling writer's room. It's actually her brother. I mean, what can you say? You know, they must come from good stock. They're both good looking. You know? Hopefully like you don't look like a foot or something. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully. You know? I mean, if you do, then I'd be thanking God. You better be treating her like her name. Better Better be treating her like her name, dude. Oh, man. He rocks good people. But his boys are soft? What do you mean his boys are soft? What are you referring to? The guys like he does a show with? Thought that show he did was like with guys that are like mostly trolling most of the time. Get her on and just immediately talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, I'd ask her what she thinks about that new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games. I played that one with my son, and he didn't like it. He thought it was too hard. Nah, I'm handsome 6'7". I have a YouTube football channel. Okay. I'm meeting the whole family then. All right, come on. I'm going to slide through and get a plate, so we might as well check out your channel. Where's your channel? Nah. Where's your real channel? Not this channel. Out here incognito. Uh-huh. Is this your real channel? Or do you do this full time, or you just do it for the fun of it? That doesn't look like a channel that you're doing anything with. Like you're just making videos every once in a while? Or do you have a separate channel that you use? This says 4 years ago. 1 year ago. Bro said, I'm going to slide through and get a plate. I mean, I'm going to. All right, the slant football. All right. Hang on. I'm meeting the whole family right now. All right, and just you're going to have to give me your mom's phone number too, because I want to see how she's doing, you know. I want to see if you're a good boy. Okay, hang on a second. Are you in these videos? Are you in any of these videos? Do you put yourself in the vid, or you just talk? Oh, there you are. Okay. All right. Okay. How many of us have other channels that we upload, but we hang out on another channel? Yeah, that'd be fun to know. I don't know. I literally have a YouTube channel that I don't use because I'm scared AF. But I'm not going to lie. Dark vids make me think I'll be just fine. I don't know if that would make Doc feel good. Would that make Doc feel good or bad, you know? Dude, I'm really scared to do this, but I mean, I watch a couple Dark videos and I think I can take a crack at this. I think I can take a crack at this. Oh man, listen, Doc's got charisma, right? He could be standing in the gas station bathroom and be like, what's up, Doc? What's up, everybody? Doc 5. There's levels to this. He'd be adjusting his tank top, and be like, got a video for you real quick. I was just thinking the other day that Game Pass is like a chicken nugget that you forgot you had. Like, and you'll watch the whole thing. Like, you don't care where he is, There's levels to this. Doc, why are you in the bathroom? And you'll watch it because you want to know what he's going to say. These ponies, they don't know, He'd be wearing them 50-cent tank tops. Oh, man. All right, here's what we're going to do. We got to go to Writer's Room. We got to go to Members Only now. You hit 55,000 subs in a year. You got burnt out and quit. The editing was too much, and I fell out of love. Yeah, if you're doing it on your own, good night. No, yeah. I couldn't do it on my own, and I couldn't do it without memberships. Like, we're not big enough for me to do this full time. we're only able to do it because of the memberships and the gifting. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, you just, the ad revenue that you need to do this full time, I mean, you got to get to such a scale, which is really, really hard to do, especially if you're the one having to do all the editing and all the writing and the work, you know. So, all right, I'm going to spam a link in chat. Listen, if you want to come with us, you're going to have to pick up a membership. You're going to have to scoop up a membership and pick that Member Plus. If you do a brand new membership, you want to make sure you're on Member Plus. And I'll spam a link in chat. I would love it if more and more people would get to come with us, you know. Dive in, commit, become a member. You can't always depend on those gifteds. It's not consistent anymore. You know, we used to be able to really rely on it, and you knew that people were going to get one every month, and now you can't rely on it. So I'm going to spam a link in chat, then I'm going to end and redirect. Thanks so much for being a member to the channel, and we hit the goal again late in the waning hours of Friday. MASH came in and really delivered, but so did Jaddux and others. So many people making that goal and Friday night possible. Thank you to Purple Haze and Jack Garland and Stone Spire, Mike on the Mic, Insomniac Black, RPG, Sal, Rissick, Joker Quinn, Behemoth, Siege Master, Darren, Alfonso, JC. I'm scrolling through everybody that helped make today possible with a gifted. Dan was gifting Narwaffle. I think I said Joker Quinn already. Rygen and Purple Haze, Rygen and Purple Haze did super chats, and that added Dodevas as well. So many people. If I missed you, I'm sorry. I just scrolled up and just off the top just was reading through the names that made it possible. I'm going to end the previous stream and redirect folks over. And then I am going to change that thumbnail because we are no longer live.